For years, the romance of Mount Panorama has attracted hungry crowds who soak up its redline fever like a religion. But our national secret is out, and the love affair with motorsports Mount Everest is proving a challenge too strong to resist for lead-footed explorers from around the world. Let's meet them. British touring car drivers like Tim Harvey had up a healthy dose of pommy pie, here to steal our crown.
I came here in the sort of good old days of the Super Touring race. Did it twice with Peugeot, last time with Volvo back in '97, but obviously one of the greatest tracks anywhere in the world. Always wanted to come back.
They congregate in the garages, the Poms. After taking out second place last year, Martin Short returns in his striking 5.7 litre Corvette Chev Mosler, ready to munch on some Aussie Monaro.
I think we've come a lot better prepared, the car's a lot better. We've had a year of development under it. We've won the British GT Championship with the car. Well, we certainly enjoyed it last year, and I'll be delighted if we make it to the podium again this year.
No Mark has a better record of reliability under the immense pressure of endurance racing as the Porsche. Brazilian Thomas Erdos lines up as a clear threat to the Aussie-occupied throne, but nothing could prepare the former British GT champ for his first glimpse of Bathurst.
We did go around the road car very slowly, and I mean, it's just incredible as you go up the mountain, just the sheer incline to get up there, and then obviously to get all the way down the mountain again. It's just, as you say, it's like a roller coaster.
In the red, white and blue corner is a man ready to fight. FA-18 pilot Paul Jenkins, an ex-Navy SEAL, on a mission of no mercy.
I flew off the deck of USS America in the first Gulf War, and I stayed with it for almost 10 years and left it behind for Ferraris.
No sex, please. We're British, and nothing is more mother country than a Morgan. Break out the bangers and mash. Neil Cunningham's BMW-powered pocket rocket is no pile of mushy peas, although it is still made out of wood.
It's going to be a good car around here. Last time I was here I was on Holden. I've never got the Morgan. We've got our fingers crossed for Sunday afternoon.
Saddling up inside will also be the youngest driver in the race. Tom Shrimpton will have only just got his P plates 2 weeks ago in Australia. At 18, the Morgan culture is over his head. He just hopes the kangaroos aren't over his bonnet.
We were up at Skyline yesterday and we saw a couple jumping around, so as long as they don't cross the track, I don't really mind. I'd love to see a few more though.
So Australia, national pride rests on the shoulders of these men, of the mighty Monaros. In just 1 year, the Bathurst 24-hour race has not just turned a new page, but a whole chapter. The melting pot of new drivers, cars and speeds is a shake-up for the boys from Oz.
I think the advantages that we have is obviously we know the circuit extremely well. We're a lot wiser as far as 24-hour racing goes after one event, and no doubt we'll be a lot wiser come Sunday afternoon.
When we're trying to explain the class categories of the Bathurst 24-hour, we usually start with Class A, the In Your Dreams category, the A standing for absolutely out of your price range. At the other end of the spectrum is Class E, the Eat My Dust category, reserved for the smaller powered cars that are big on attitude.
Class A is our fastest category. Australian Nations Cup Championship, which is run all year with us, Monaros, Ferraris, Porsches. We also invite FIA and GT cars from Europe, which are the same speed, British GTO vehicles and cars like that.
It's just different coming to this circuit. It is so far away home, so we're planning probably 7-8 months before we ship the container, which is shipped 6 weeks before the event. When you win, obviously, I'm not so sure you've got a lot to prove, but you probably want to do it for your own personal reasons.
While Class A entries obviously have the top line speed, they are heavier and will work the brakes and tyres much harder. So don't write off Class B for outright, like last year's category winner VJ Angelo in his BMW Coupe. VJ Angelo, how realistic is it for you guys to aim for an outright this weekend?
Just about zero chance. Well, having said that, it's a 24-hour race. The Ferraris and the Monaros proved last year they could fall to bits. So I wouldn't say it's zero, but it's got to be close.
Class D covers the GT performance cars, just like Gary Holt's Lancer Evo there. And if any category likes a bit of grunt and shunt in their racing this weekend, at least the parts are cheaper.
A great finish here would be a top 10 place in the outright and naturally first in Division D.
We believe we can do a 1-2 in class. I mean, they're BMWs, so they're a great car. And everything goes right, there's every possibility of a top 5 finish.
The final two categories, classes E and F, cover the drivers who have come to Bathurst to, well, just be here. It's all about being in it and finishing. These are production cars, the most affordable way to attempt a 24-hour.
We're not going to outrun a V8 Holden or Ford or a BMW Super Tourer from Germany. We're not going to beat them at all. But what we did last year just didn't stop. We just, every couple of hours, changed the driver. We never opened the bonnet for 24 hours. We never put tyres in the car for 24 hours. We just had an absolute blast, and we got 3 cars home, and we ended up being the top 3. That's what we're aiming for, a win again. We've got 8 cars to beat, but we'll be right.
A budget for a 2-car team like ours is just over $100,000 for the weekend. I hate to think what it costs to run some of the more exotic machines, but this is, in motorsport terms, it's relatively affordable, and really we're here to have fun, and if we stop having fun, we'll go home.
So the Bathurst 24-hour is all class, an event that's fast becoming Australia's holy grail on the world stage. No offence to that Holden guy that won here in that other Enduro a couple of weeks ago. Kermit the Frog once said, "It's not easy being green." And what a wise amphibian he was, because in motorsport it's always been about guzzling gas and breathing in the fumes. Until now, that is.
If motor racing has a future and a relevance, we have to be able to address the environment. We are looking at fuel emissions, and we're also looking at fuel economy in the matrix, and we have put a lot of work into this through our Formula Green research arm in Hamilton, New Zealand. They're here this weekend to conduct the test, and it's all happening. It's another world first for Bathurst.
Mr. Pro Car Ross Palmer is no stranger to the concept of colour-coding Bathurst, but not without a few obstacles. Like in the 70s when he financed Dick Johnson's True Blue Ford, the one that hit the rock, to the year that he ran his green tough machine, the one that hit the tree, and of course there was that red Ferrari that hit the wall. Now Ross Palmer is driving environmental change via his passion for fast cars. The non-profit Formula Green concept happened over a cup of coffee with Aussie motorsport legend Jack Brabham, and it wasn't long before another icon was on board.
We're looking at things like tyre wear, brake pad wear, the materials we're building cars from, the recyclability of those components.
So, between Brocky, Brabham and Procar, the seed has been planted to establish the Formula Green Foundation. And this weekend, even the top teams are unknowingly being guinea pigs in a fuel consumption experiment.
They're actually testing it on the outright cars. They don't know it, but there will be a bronze, silver and a gold plaque handed out to the 3 podium finishers, who will be readjusted from their podium finish according to their environmental index.
And to prove the commitment to lean green racing is fair dinkum, Procar will add a hot new series to its 2004 calendar, the Formula Green Future Races.
There will be a control fuel which is very low in carcinogens, which are cancer-causing agents and other aromatics. And the reason that we've decided to adopt this thing, not only to go along with Formula Green and our partnership with Procar Australia, is that we are the future, and that's really what we're aiming towards.
So think 12 months from now at the next Bathurst 24-hour, and green won't be such an unlucky colour to motorsport fans. We're on the brink of a new frontier for fuel efficiency and a cleaner environment.
Well, 131 Australians, 16 from the UK, 10 New Zealanders, 5 Germans, 3 Austrians, 2 Danish drivers, 2 from the USA, 1 Brazilian, 1 Italian, 1 Indonesian, 1 Malaysian. One hell of a race field, David Anderson.
We said last year this event would pick up. We said it was going to become bigger and better, and there is the proof. A fantastic grid lined up, ready for action.
Can't wait for the start of this one. The safety car will lead them off, but we must point out straight away, the minute the cars start rolling, this race is underway. The clock will be ticking, the countdown will be on for 2003.
Oh, what's going to happen, folks? It's Australia taking it to the world one more time, but not one Monaro this year. We've got 2 Monaros, the one that won the race last year, the 427 Just Cars insurance car, but Brock, an 05, back in the red Monaro, second fastest yesterday in qualifying, starting alongside his teammate in this
race. Will this be Peter Brock's 10th Bathurst win? Away they go. We've got the green flag. So the 24-hour endurance race here at Mount Panorama is now underway. They'll do one lap behind the safety car, then take the green flag.
That's the way it looks. Only 23 hours and 59 minutes to go in this one. A long, long journey. A tough racetrack to do it on. Sun is shining at the moment. The forecast is for rain. How is it all going to pan out? As you said, Craig, 2 Australian cars, but David, a very strong international contingent this year.
Well, that's right. You've got the Mosley, you've got the Ferrari, you've got some of the European teams running in Group B as well. And with the Monaros on the front of the grid then, Nathan Pretty will start in 4.27 and Peter Brock in 0.5 alongside him.
Then we go back to row 2 on the grid. There is the BMW. John Bow, Crick, Crompton and Algadri short on the alongside them out of position 4 with Pierce, Lamb and Spurl.
Back to position 5, John Chulin, the Porsche 911 GTRS in the hands of Morris Fitzgerald and Scott Shearman as well. Then the sensational Lamborghini Diablo, Paul Stokel, the Dane, Alan Simonson, Luke Hilden, Peter Hackett.
7th on the grid, David Brabham starts in the Ferrari. He shares with Klaus Engelhorn, Philippe Peter, Andrea Montermini. Uwe Altsen is 8th on the grid in the Porsche with his brother Jürgen, Arno Clausen and Michael Bartels.
Next row sees Tony Quinn, Clark Quinn, Marcus Marshall and Grant Denyer line up. Alongside them, Peter Floyd, Ian Donaldson, Liz Halliday and Andrew Donaldson.
More Porsches to come. Mike Newton, Tommy Erdos, the British GT champion, I should say. Manfred Urash, who was here last year. Rod Wilson. Then the Certec Porsche, British touring car champion, Tim Harvey, Jonathan Rowland, Herman Tilke, Melinda Price.
It's Paul Freestone that starts 888, the Porsche, with James Konduris, Will Power and Des Wall, and a big question mark over the next car on the grid. Alex Young, the ex-Minardi Grand Prix driver with the BMW that may not start with an ECU problem.
Adam Sharp will line up along on the next row of the grid with Neil Cunningham, Asler and Shrimpton, the young man we heard about a few moments ago, Parker, Walters, Sala and Gazzard alongside.
Group B car, Vijay Angelo, Rick Shaw, Mark Williamson, Scott O'Donnell, then the Holden Commodore VX, the Chroma exhaust car is Steve Williams, Graham Moore, Terry Bosanjak.
Peter Boylan starts number 19, the M3 BMW. He shares with Jeff Morgan, Peter Hansen and Rick Bates, and then lining up alongside a car that was crashed in the wet qualifying session of Graham Alexander, John Woodbury, and then the car, Brett Yulden.
Then we've got Mark Westbrook, Moore and Mitchell. They're out of position 21. 22 sees Gary Holt, Gary Young, Michael Brock and Kevin Mundy.
Keep on moving through the field. The Bruce Litton BMW car 23, the Mountain Racing BMW M3 E46 of Mountain, Wilson Brooks and David Gooding.
Theo Konduris will start the Ferrari with Richard Wilson, Paul Jenkins and Ian Palmer. Alongside them, Gary Dean, Robert Rubis and Dean Wanless with the Subaru.
In 27, it's the Nissan, Pilkington, Cribben, Hill and Hooker. Then we go to the BMW of Russell, Cramp, King and Stubber.
And they keep on coming, folks. The Falcon GT of Haynes, Falk, Phillip and Schumack. The Toyota Altezza from New Zealand of Tomlinson. The brothers, Andrew Neal and Mike Eadie.
Mark Cohen starts in number 31 with Fabian Coulthard returning to these shores to race, and they're alongside the Subaru. Rod Sam and Wayne Boatwright, the leading drivers.
We go back to Chanda, Gillespie and McFarlane. Harrison on alongside them with Kilpatrick and Johnson and Catchlove.
Russell in the Commodore from Luff, Loadsman and Ian Luff, father and son. Then Dean, Pye and Smith in the Falcon GT.
Then the Honda, Anton Meckler, the leading driver there with Charlie Kovacs, and the Mitsubishi Mirage, Peter Linghuis starting 38th on the grid.
It almost seems endless. 39th, McElroy, Douglas, Stillwell and Kirkham. Haysom and Wood in the car alongside.
McGill in the Ducks Hot Water car back there in position 41. The Alfa Romeo 156 GDA in position 42.
Then Toyota and Honda on the next row of the grid. More variety here.
Out of position 45, it's also a Toyota Celica. Bornes, the chief pilot of that one, rounding out the 45 cars that will take part in the 2003 Bathurst 24-hour at Mount Panorama.
Presented by Formula Green, Eagle Boys Pizza, Welcome Australia. Monaro returns and 2 of them on the front row as we come down behind the safety car, getting set for the green flag to single the first race at speed. 3 or 4 drivers per car in the race stats, a maximum of 3 hours per driver in each car, 1 hour between, they must have at least 1 hour rest between the driving stints, total driving time per driver a maximum of 9 hours.
Well, let's see how we're going to shape up this year. The safety car will pull off to pit lane and we will be underway at race pace. The 2 Holden Monaros side by side, already starting to get a bit push and shove alongside each other. Let's see how it's going to be at the end of lap 1. The Mosler sitting back there on the second row of the grid. We are standing by for a real racing start.
Nathan Pretty and Peter Brock side by side. inside. Then the sensational BMW M3 GDR. Then the Mosler. Then, of course, it's the Fitzgerald Falcon Tyres Porsche coming down to take the green flag and signal the start at race speed of the second 24-hour endurance race live from Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
And it's going to be Nathan Pretty who dives into the lead at Shell Corner. Peter Brock goes second. Third is John Bow. Martin Short fourth as they climb up Mountain Straight for the first time. And the Moser and the BMW side by side, but Martin Short just powers ahead there.
Yeah, Martin Short really got the power down exceptionally well out of Shell Corner. Really got the horsepower working in his advantage. Moves up into third spot, and the Fitzgerald car, the Porsche in the mix as well.
45 cars in this race, folks. Watch the yellow and black Lamborghini coming through now with a green and blue Porsche alongside. That's the car to watch, the car that we thought would take pole position from the Monaros. It didn't. We had one dry qualifying session, then a wet qualifying session. The Lamborghini had problems in the first session. They had to change the radiator. We really don't know the true race speed of this car.
Four very good drivers on board that Lamborghini. Paul Stokel at the wheel at the moment. I was talking with one of them, Peter Hackett, as we see a little bit of smoke from some of the cars as they head across the top of the mountain for the first time. Hackett said this weekend has been about being consistent and working out what we need to do to win this one. We desperately, desperately want it, David.
Yeah, Martin Short said to me earlier on today as well, he was going to do the heroics in the first hour and then calm down a little bit. So the Mosler running third. Is he going to be able to do anything about the Monaros? Nathan Pretty leads Peter Brock across the top of Mount Panorama for the first time. Martin Short getting away from John Bow, and in turn he's coming under pressure now from Paul Morris in the Porsche.
Yeah, Morris is the one to watch, car 54 now. That's a Carrera Cup car that's been spec'd up to run in the outright class. It's been quick all weekend. Good quality of car drivers in that car as well. Peter Fitzgerald, Scott Shearman, so John Tulin also, who's the car owner. Morris behind the wheel now would be keen to stay on the back end of that BMW.
Didn't Peter Brock say a few moments ago that he was going to sit behind and see what these guys were going to do? He's looking very racy on this opening lap.
Yeah, well, Brock's out for a win number 10, and it's a very, very serious attempt that started here last year. He got enthralled by this event, riding with Peter Brock now, absolutely enthralled by the excitement of it. Came back this year, has done effectively a full year in Nations Cup. In this car, he's had 5 wins, and there's no doubt about it, David. Gary Rogers Motorsport and Holden are certainly well ahead of the game when it came to Bathurst this weekend.
Absolutely right. I mean, the car surprised so many people last year with its reliability. It was a great win then, and of course everybody willing Peter Brock on. But look at Martin Short reeling in the Monaros at the end of the lap now. The Mosler right up with Brocky as they head across the line. John Bow dropping back a little bit in 4th place. Now Peter Brock is going to have to get a wriggle on. He doesn't really want the Mosler coming past him. Nathan Pretty inching away, but the fight's off at 2nd place now, look.
Well, the Mosler left sitting in the shadows last year. It's not the case this year. We heard from Martin Short before the start of the race. A new setup, new confidence about his driving ability around this mountain, and what a great car to do it in. Race score shows Nathan Pretty on top, over Peter Brock, Martin Short, John Bow, Paul Morris, Paul Stokel, Alzen and Quinn round out your 8s.
Standing fastest lap 2:23.7 for Nathan Pretty, and the man that knows the car as well as anybody, that yellow 427 Just Car Insurance car that's leading this race, is Cameron McConville. Cam, a great result last year, but there's no doubt about it. You boys at Holden are on the game this year. You mean you've done very, very little laps. The first qualifying session, you nailed the 2 fastest times. Mate, how quick is it?
Oh, look, the car's going really well, Craig. There's no doubt about that. I can tell you I'm more nervous than last year, though. Sitting up here watching the start, I think there's a little bit more pressure on this year, but I've actually only done 7 laps so far this weekend because the car's just really nice to drive, and all of the drivers have done 4 or 5 laps per session, and we came here with new running gear in the car, so our plan was not to do too many miles in practice or qualifying. We really haven't changed a thing in the car since it rolled out of the truck other than a front shock adjustment. So let's keep our fingers crossed for the next 24 hours and hope that the cars keep going without any dramas.
It's a long time to keep your fingers crossed, David Addison.
Just looking as well at what's happening between the Monaros after Martin Short's efforts to challenge Peter Brock. Peter's thought, no, stuff that. I'm going to catch up with the yellow peril ahead of me. You've got the 2 Monaros now running nose to tail as they come down Conrod Straight. Martin Short further in the Mosler, and John Bow looking a little bit closer now as Peter Brock once again has a look at a different side of the road. But Nathan Pretty is not to be denied the lead as they head down towards the Caltex chase. The 2 Monaros now getting into their stride and starting to edge clear of the rest of the field.
So, Cam, you've got the night stint you mentioned earlier, is that true?
Well, I think I'll be hopping in first time. We're going to do single stints at the moment, Craig, so everyone will do a tank of fuel. So it'll probably be about 6:30 when I hop in, and then back in again closer to midnight, I'd say. So last year I had the sunrise stint, which was a lot of fun around here, but I think I might wait and see what the weather weather does before I put my hand up for that one.
Great onboard shots of Peter Brock, and you can see the concentration, the intensity in his eyes. I mean, this is a serious attempt at his 10th Bathurst win. Andrew in pit lane.
Yes, well, we had 5 cars starting from the pit lane, and this 222 car, the pink Nissan, was one of them. His teammate also started to the pit lane, but an update on the Alex Young BMW. I understand that car is running fine now, so it'll be interesting to see how the former Grand Prix driver gets on.
Yeah, the Alex Young car had lots of problems during practice and qualifying, injector problems. The car on screen at the moment, the 222 car, the Donut King entry, they've had problems all weekend, niggling little problems. An oil valve popped off and almost caused a fire down there in pit lane, but Paul Stokel has found a way past John Bowe, so Paul Stokel moves up into 4th spot in the Lamborghini.
Down to Grant.
Greg Murphy, your teammate Peter Brock's looking fairly racy at this stage. You're used to running in a 2-car team. What happens now?
Oh, well, I mean, it's so early on in the race. I mean, the guys are just going to be getting out there, finding a nice pace to be cruising along at without putting themselves in under too much pressure. And, you know, the team strategy would have been absolutely make sure that no one touches anybody, and that's obviously not going to happen. So, you know, we'll just see, going to look and see what the other cars are doing. The Lambo's actually starting to push, and he's moving forward. So, depending on what he wants to do, but really, if someone wants to lead, the guys are really just going to let them go and see what happens. It's just too long a race. The strategy, there really isn't one. It's really about consistency and reliability.
How do you feel about doing a complete Bathurst 1000 by yourself? Because that's the amount of time you'll spend in the car.
Oh, it's a pretty riveting prospect, actually. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it should be great. I mean, we'd never get enough time in the car when we're up here for a 1,000k race, so it's neat to come here and actually have a crack and do some real miles and get some time around this place, which you don't normally do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hope you're taking your proton pills, mate.
Plenty of them, amongst other things.
Well, 2:17.8 for Paul Stokel. He's the man on the move in car 20. The Donut King Lamborghini, the black and yellow car. Cam, we don't think we saw this car true speed in qualifying. What do you think the chances are for a Lambo to get down to the 13s?
Oh, look, I'd say that might be a little bit adventurous. I'm certainly hoping it is. But we knew that the Lamborghini was foxing or had problems in qualifying. We knew that it should have really been the car on the front row of the grid, and it's showing its true colours now. The pace Nathan's running at is a tad faster than our intended race pace. So, you know, I'd say that's pretty pacey early on in the race. So we'll just have to wait and see. You can see he's trying to pass the Mosler now. So closing in under brakes, and be interesting to see the straight line speed between this Chevy engine Mosler and the Lamborghini, because the Lamborghini's pretty talented in the straight bits I've seen this weekend.
Although the new fastest lap of the race has just been done by Peter Brock, who is once again catching Nathan Pretty for the lead. Paul Stokel dropping back a little in the straight line from Martin Short, but the Lamborghini now looking very dangerous as far as taking that 3rd place is concerned, as they head now once more up to Conacher Bend.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the Mosler in a straight line. It really started to pull away from Paul Stokel then. The previous time across the top of the mountain, Paul was really launching the car around. The back of the car was dancing around, something that you don't want to be doing in the early stages of a 24-hour race. But now look at him go, trying to get up into 3rd spot.
5.7 litre V8, a Corvette-based engine in the Mosler, of course, and a 6 litre V12 Lamborghini steering Paul Stokel. Oh, he thinks about a run down the inside of the Mosler as they lap one of the slower cars. Has to pull out of it, though.
That's the Haysom entry car, 222 back out onto the circuit, so good news for them. Stokel straight down the inside, picks up 3rd spot as they come across Holden Skyline.
Well, I think we know now what the Lamborghini strategy is Cam.
I'm very surprised, I must say. Paul's pressing pretty hard, which is personally not what I'd be doing in a 24-hour race. But anyway, he obviously knew he had a lot more speed on board. The Lamborghini is very strong under brakes. It's probably the best car alongside a Porsche out there under braking. And it was interesting watching that Chevy engine Mosler. It certainly got a lot of straight line speed. And Martin Short was very quick in night practice last night. So we'll have to watch them as well as the day progresses.
Right here with John Bowe now, the sensational brand new BMW M3 GTR V8, only arrived in Australia some 10 days ago. One of only 6 in the world, powered by a 5 litre, pretty much a stock 5 litre BMW engine. There's not a lot been done to it, but it's a light car, about 1,100 kilos, will be quick. Superb BMW reliability. One would hope, David Addison, over the 24 hours of this race, but really, it's an unknown quantity.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a good team running it, it's a good team driving it, but they're going to have to make this big step into the unknown. And you can see now as well that John Bowe is coming under pressure from Paul Morris. And we've also had a graphic example on this lap at the top of the mountain of the amount of traffic that they're going to encounter this year. Of course, it's a much bigger entry than last year, but the traffic's going to be a real problem, isn't it?
So as they stand at the moment, Nathan Pretty, Peter Brock, Paul Stokel, Martin Short, Paul Morris, then Harvey Brabham, and Bow. Let's go down to the pits with Grant Denyer.
Well, the atmosphere down here is about as warm as an English winter day, so it's not real good for the Morgan at the moment. The team were a little bit concerned about some fluid that being released. They thought they were going to be black flagged, so they thought they'd bring the car in on themselves in their own terms and take a look at what it is. They weren't too sure whether it was oil or coolant. As it turns out, as what we can see on the ground, it is coolant, but what it is doing is it's throwing fluid over the windscreen, so he's having a great difficulty seeing. But hopefully they fix that car and it's back out now. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, some very, very sexy cars in this race, David, and one would argue some very ugly cars. We'll talk about that later. Back down the pits now to Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, another British team in a little bit of trouble. It's the Surtec team. Remember, they led for so long last year. Ian Donaldson's driving the green Kawasaki car. Well, you brought the car in. What happened, Ian?
One of the oil filler cap was loose. The Jubilee clip that was retaining the cap were broken. The cap come loose on the first lap, putting oil onto the exhaust, hence the smoke. The organisers pulled us in. Okay, the job got fixed, and now they said that as Peter went around another 3 laps, they sort of still got some oil smoke from the residue from the oil. They've actually made us come back in again, wanted us to do a drive-through, but then the official then held us here. Okay, and now there's a little bit of fracas going on, but we're all okay. We've got no problem with the car.
Okay, so Ian Donaldson, not a very happy man, folks.
Car that Peter Floyd from Australia was also sharing this car as well, and USA driver Liz Halliday, David.
Yeah, who's done a bit of racing in the UK in Porsches this year. She's been racing in the GT Cup class, started off her motor racing in BMWs, but before that very successful in equestrian, now going to a different sort of horsepower.
Porsche's looking good in Class B of Nations Cup Group 2. The Holden drive on leaderboard shows that the German car Volzen leading the Tony Quinn Porsche, then Theo Kondouris, 1 lap down back there in position 13, Rickshaw in 14, Arla's there, well back in 38th. Peter Brock has moved into the race lead. Peter Brock up Mountain Straight has unleashed 05 and now has moved ahead of his teammate Nathan Pretty in car 427. Brock is on a mission.
Now come on, Cameron, is that in the game plan? You're looking on very concerned there.
Absolutely not. Brock's supposed to follow us all day until we say so, and that's it. But,
yeah, sure.
No, look, we really we were not concerned who leads the race. It's just a matter of running around and not running into each other. So it looks like Peter wants to press on a little bit, and I know our game plan in the yellow car is to, if the red car decides to do that, we'll let them go, even though it is obviously a team effort. We'll just let them press on a little bit.
Let's have a look at the Hankook Tyres replay. This is up Mountain Straight. You can see Brock has pulled out of the draft alongside Nathan Pretty at 427.05, 7 litres, 427 cubic inches, moves through beautifully under brakes, going through Konica Minolta.
Yeah, I just wonder if that lap traffic had come into play there and maybe put Nathan off his game going up the mountain on that occasion.
I also think maybe Peter was following very close for some time, might have been getting a little bit hot in water temperature, and this just gives, and you can see Nathan's back right out of it, so I'd say that could well be just to make sure we get some cool air in our car. Peter having a drink there, but he looks quite happy, never looks really stressed.
Happy.
Familiar territory for Peter Brock to be leading Bathurst in particularly a Holden. First drove here at Monaro in 1969, didn't win the race, but that was when he was picked up by Harry Firth to join the new Holden dealer team at the time. It was a Monaro 350, and this is a Monaro 427, but there's no question about it. Peter Brock has got the eyes on, and he's absolutely focused on hopefully making this one his 10th Bathurst win.
And Craig here continues to lead the way. Peter Brock out in front, Nathan Pretty in second spot, then Stokell, Morris, Harvey, Short in 6th, Brabham, Bow rounds out the top 8, Elton in 9th, Tony Quinn in 10th, then the Wilson car, Freeston, Kondouris, Shaw, Williams and Linton.
Oh, it looks like the Lamborghini's just gone off. Noticed his lap was quite slow the previous lap.
Okay, car 20, that's Paul Stokell. And he's gone off at the Caltex Hamilton Chase, back on the road
and
now.
He's got a puncture, look.
Slow, so yes, a flat right-hand rear tyre as Stokell slowly makes his way back to the pits in the Donut King Lamborghini.
Well, he's gone off at the right place, you could argue. He's not that far from the pit lane. He hasn't got far to limp, but the car very, very slowly making its way down the pit lane. Now, was the puncture the result or the cause of him going off? Either way, he's limping his way down the pit lane. This is agonisingly slow.
Yeah, 17 laps into what we will assume will be a 532 lap plus race. I mean, that's disastrous for Team Lamborghini.
And what heartbreak for Paul Stokell too after such a good start. He's right up there with the leaders. The Lamborghini looked very, very fast, and now he's on his way to the pits for a new tyre.
So that moves Tim Harvey in car 24 now up into the top 3. The Hankook Tyres replay coming down to the Caltex Hamilton Chase. It's gone flat in the braking area. We're on the way down, and you can see that the rear end just stepped out. He caught it, was lucky enough to get it back on the road, and now almost back to pit lane.
Yeah, that's a real concern. He went offline to pass a car, and we know we've discussed in our race strategy to avoid going offline to pass slower cars as the debris builds, but you wouldn't expect there to be any debris or anything on the track there, so it could just be a simple tyre failure.
Andrew Marriott's in pit lane, right on the spot.
I certainly am, and the right rear is absolutely in shreds. In fact, it's almost come off the wheel. They're going to refuel it first. This is standard practice in endurance racing, so this team really are well versed in the rules, so they're refueling it, then they'll lift it up and they'll pull that tyre off. There doesn't look to me any damage at all to me around the back of the car where it's delaminated, and whether it's a simple puncture or not, we don't know yet, but the fuel is out now. The car, there you hear the rattle gun going, and let's see if the wheel comes off easily. It does. A new rear tyre goes on, a new Pirelli, and they're just checking inside the wheel arch there, and they have seen something, so a little bit worried about something they've seen inside. And they're checking the brake line. They're worried that the wheel has actually damaged a brake line, and they're just asking Alan to pump the brakes to see if any fluid comes out of that brake line. And I can't see any on the floor. Yes, there is fluid on the floor. So this is going to be a long stop, folks. They are going to have to change that brake line. So, well, that's going to take maybe as much as 10 minutes. So a big disappointment here for the Lamborghini. So that's the situation. The tyre has damaged the brake pipe.
Wow, gee, Team Lamborghini, I mean, what a blow to Paul Stokell. Also, we've got a problem with car 91. It's the Gary Dean Subaru, and it's stalled at the pit entrance at the moment too, so that could cause some problems. Robert Rubus behind the wheel at the moment, but Cam, bad luck for Paul Stokell after winning the championship in this particular car.
Yeah, that's a real shame, but that's very clever by the guys to have a good look, because if you ruptured a brake line there, then that could be really, really dangerous. So it's smart to fix it. It's a long, long race. You know, we lost 12, 15 laps, I think, last year and won the event, so they've just got to get back out there with minimal fuss and time.
Last year losing 12 or 15 laps wasn't that much of a problem given the entry, but this year, of course, it's so much more competitive that that's a real handicap now for that team.
No doubt about that, though. I certainly wouldn't want to do that again. I think this year you need to have minimal problems with the depth of the field, but they'll get back out there and just keep pressing on.
Well, Cam, thanks for your commentary, and thanks for joining us up here. It's a big night for you. You did it last year. Let's hope the Just Car Insurance can make it 2 out of 2.
Yeah, thanks very much. Let's hope the good old Aussie Monaro can do it again, but we won't jinx ourselves yet. Long, long way, and we'll talk a bit later on.
The Holden leaderboard shows Peter Brock continues to lead from Nathan Pretty. Tim Harvey now up to third outright in car 24. Paul Morris in car 54 sitting inside the top 4. Martin Short, the Moslers, dropped back outside the top 6.
Yeah, I think Martin's settling into his own pace now. Of course, they had a lot of problems in the first qualifying session getting the setup right for the Mosler. It runs on Yokohama tyres here. It's been running on Dunlops elsewhere all season, and it took Martin and the team a little while to get the car dialed in. It was just too stiff. Eventually, they got it right, and Martin went 4th on the grid in the dark in the night qualifying session last night. But I suspect that what he's doing is what he did last year, and just playing it safe and easy in the first few hours, and then worrying about getting the car to the finish.
Brocky is leading the Bathurst 24-hour, the 05 Monaro going beautifully.
From Nathan Pretty, his teammate, then Tim Harvey now in car 24 up to 3rd. But I tell you what, Brocky, 21 laps into the race, has already lapped up to 9th position outright. David Addison, an amazing performance.
He's not too bad for an Australian, is he, this bloke Brock? Here he is, aiming for his perfect 10th win. Down the Conrod Straight he goes once more, heading towards Caltech's chase, and Peter Brock, who sat on the tail of Nathan Pretty for the first handful of laps, has found a way through, and now he's pulling away. The gap is 10.1 seconds between the two Monaros, and Tim Harvey is a man in a hurry in 3rd in the best placed Porsche, the Certec run car. He's not catching the Monaros, but he's breaking away a little bit from those behind him. This is the fight for 3rd and for 4th, because they're nose to tail. It's Tim Harvey in the Certec Porsche just ahead of David Brabham there with the Ferrari 360, and Brabs has been working his way up the order. Tim Harvey, who missed the first qualifying session altogether. That car had a clutch problem. Now has the Ferrari alongside and through into 3rd place. David Brabham goes through as they approach Conica Bend. Well, we said the Porsche was moving up the order, but David Brabham now, after a fairly mediocre start over the first few laps, he's now absolutely flying. He was just playing himself in gradually, and now Brabham is absolutely charging.
And what a superb car, $700,000 Ferrari F360 GT, driven in Nations Cup earlier this year by John Bauer. Has been a sensational car, and there's no doubt about it. Brabham, when you look at the co-driver lineup, including Andre Montermini, the ex-Formula 1 champ car driver as well, who will jump into this car later on. You've got Klaus Engelhorn, the European Ferrari Challenge winner, Philippe Pater. This is a classy lineup too.
Absolutely right, and I'm afraid in the pit lane there is a problem for number 60. It's Glenn Hastings at the wheel of the Subaru that's got a flat front right tyre, and there's of work going on as well. I think they were refuelling first of all. There may well have been some spillage there, which is needing to be attended to. But the fight then we saw for third place now has Brabham ahead of Harvey, and David Brabham is lapping quicker, as also is Tim Harvey, than Nathan Pretty. So I just wonder whether now Nathan is in danger of being caught by the flying Brabham.
Oh, problems too on the Hancock replay. Problem there for Martin Short in the Mosler, got caught up in some traffic.
That's right, and just running over the curb and onto the grass, getting away with it. But of course that's something that can help create these punctures.
Problems with car 24.
Yeah, and it was a puncture, I was right. So another car with a punctured tyre. The Lamborghini, by the way, that we know had a puncture earlier, has gone back out again, 5 laps down. Well, whereas Paul Stoker was nearly at the end of the lap, Tim Harvey's got to limp virtually the whole way around the mountain.
There is a huge front making its way down towards Mount Panorama as we watch car number 91, a D-class competitor making its way down the hill. Rubus at the helm of that car and travelling very slowly, David.
With a punctured tyre, yet another car with a puncture. And remember, that's already been in once for a longish stop when it stalled in the pit lane. So it's really been a pretty bad start to the race for this team.
Quite amazing as he gets out onto the grass to try and obviously keep as much of the rubber on the track as you possibly can.
There is another car in trouble. It's one of the BMWs.
Car 40 has gone in at the Donut King.
Is Robert Brooks, the auctioneer, and he's done a lot of damage to the front of it.
Just hear him talking to the team at the moment. This may well be a safety car situation, I'd suggest, where the car is on the track at the moment. You can see that he's crunched the right-hand front guard and suspension quite hard. Let's have a look at the replay. Oh, we got caught up with the VIP Pet Foods Porsche of Tony Quinn at the wheel. Crunched the BMW against the wall, and that's what's caused all the damage.
Well, there it sits. Is the safety car going to be out on track? Yes, our timing screen has got a yellow band on it. That means the safety car will be out on the circuit, and the reason is pretty obvious, because Brooks's car has got a lot of damage. It sits by the side of the road, and that needs removing.
Car 59, the Cromer exhaust car, turns it around, and you can see all these cars that are now filing their way back into pit lane under safety car to change from wet to dry tyres, or I should say from dry to wet tyres. We saw Brock come in first of the cars under safety car, right on lap 30, the race leader, and he, of course, David Anderson, has really handed the race lead to Stephen Richards in car 427.
That's right, it's a Monaro 1-2, but all that's going to be thrown into the air now as people have to decide when to come in for these wet tyres, or indeed gamble on whether it's a passing shower and how quick the track will dry out. But pretty much everybody now coming in for wet. So you can see off come the slicks from the Morgan, a wet Dunlop's going on.
We haven't talked much about the Morgan. Tell us about this car. We saw it briefly, but it's really quite exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it runs in GT Cup in the British GT Championship. This particular car finished third in the Spa 1,000 kilometres. He's got a 4.6 litre BMW engine in it. It makes a great sound, this Morgan. Still, some of its construction is wood, and there you can see the activity going on in the pit lane. Behind it is the Mosler. Martin Short has got out of that car. It's back in for wet tyres. And just look at this. It's like a who's who of the motor industry. You've got Mosler, Ferrari, further down the pit lane, Holden, and Lamborghini back in, of course. And it's not a problem it's in for this time. It's just to go from slicks to wets.
The Monaro very, very loose as he comes down into pit lane. These dramas aren't over yet. He has to go through the left-hander, uses the ripple strip, tries to straight line it. Oh, was almost all over.
Yeah, sheets of water over the track too, so one would suggest we might be under safety car for quite some time as Murphy in 05, the car that led the race in the hands of his teammate Peter Brock, brings it back into the pits for a quick change to wet weather tyres. Andrew.
Yes, exactly as you called it. The wet weathers are going on. He's made it back, so that drama is over. The car looks absolutely immaculate, and this crew is really working very well. They're only allowed to have 2 men actually on the wheel changing, and that's exactly what they've got down here. And all 4 on, and the air hose comes off. It drops off the jack, and it's away. But that pit stop was only about 30 seconds.
The water's still flowing down the track, as you can see. The rain is torrential at the moment. We've got thunder and lightning. And all in all, not a very pleasant time to be at Mount Panorama.
Just been advised by race control, they're actually going to stop the safety car on pit straight and bring the field to a halt. So bad are the conditions here at the moment. It's really quite amazing, David, when you think about it.
This, I've never seen the cars being held on the track like this. And down in the pit lane, drowning in all of this, is the redoubtable Andrew Marriott.
I'm trying to keep out of the rain, David. I've got Klaus Engelhorn with me. I'm obviously from Austria. I have a bit of rain. The right decision to stop the race here?
Yes, definitely I think so. It's a security issue. If there's too much water on the track, it's simply too dangerous to run 290 kilometers per hour, even with rain tires, when there is a sea on the track. So I'm glad that they are stopping, because the clouds will go, and then we can continue and safe and nice.
There's the safety car now coming through the Caltex Havilland Chase. Lights are off, so we're set for a restart. And you can see there's a field of slower cars in front of the race leader, the yellow Monaro, with Stephen Richards behind the wheel. He can't pass anybody, of course, till he gets to the start-finish line.
And those cars, in effect, have lost a lap, of course, to the race leader, because what really should happen is that the race-leading car is behind the safety car. Well, in all the confusion of having to stop them on the grid and so forth, that now means that the leading car is 6th, 7th, 8th in the pack. All of this traffic comes across the line now, and there, 427, the race-leading car in the hands of Stephen Richards, goes for a green flag, thunders across the line. We're back racing then at Mount Panorama, but the car to watch is the Ferrari, number 48, Philippe Pedro at the wheel of it. You can see it coming up on the inside, carving its way through the traffic. It's going after the leading Monaro, all of the traffic, and this now really is a testing time for the drivers. How hard do you push?
54 minutes under safety car, 39 now, 40 laps into this 24-hour race, of which we have 22 yet to run, but we're back under green, and again, look at Stephen Richards unleashing the 427.
And look at the Altson Porsche behind it, because that car, ideally suited to these weather conditions, is trying to unlap itself, and it's going to have a look, I think, on the inside, going into Konica Bend, side by side. It's not for position, but it puts Altson back on the lead lap, and that was a very brave bit of driving.
There we see how quick these guys were in the wet last night, no doubt about it, and as you say, very, very important, they stay on the lead lap, no question about that.
Well, Stephen Richards not giving an inch either in the Monaro. He is staying right on the Porsche's tail. This is going to be a hot next couple of laps, and pretty strong under brakes there for Steve Richards too, as he keeps up with the Porsche, which you would expect, skip away.
Oh yeah, very tentative first lap too. I mean, they really don't know how much water is on the track at speed, so they've both got to tiptoe around. No doubt about it, Stephen Richards wants to run with him though, and is not prepared to fall out of the trail of the plume of water that you can see is spraying off the car. Richards is hanging in there, they've just gapped the rest of the field.
That's right, Michael Bartels it is, driving this car that's run by Jürgen Altson's team, Uwe Altsson and Arno Clausen joining him. Those four drivers got the car on pole position for the Nürburgring 24 hours earlier on this year. So the Altson Porsche then, driven by Michael Bartels, 8th place it is, but it's back on the lead lap.
And second in the class, so the reason why he needs to unlap himself is the Tony Quinn Marcus Marshall VIP Pet Foods Porsche is leading that class. This is a Class B car. They were leading the class early in the race, got behind in the pit reshuffle. Important now that, of course, he maybe gets a chance to come back at the VIP car.
Now let's just see whether or not the Monaro can gobble up the Porsche once again, coming down Conrad Straight. The way that Stephen Richards is driving, you think this was an actual battle for position, wouldn't you? And he's going to do it.
Look at Richards now. Again, this awesome 6-speed sequential gearbox, Hollinger-driven 427 cubic inch Monaro, the Just Car insurance car that won this event last year. Oh, look, he's trying to run with him. Now through Caltex Havilland Chase, but yields, and the Monaro goes through to regain his position on track. Yet again, Ferrari back there in third place, then the BMW M3 GTR of John Bauer, the Porsche of Peter Fitzgerald, just been advised by race control car 24, the Tim Harvey car, stop-go penalty for using a spark generator in pit lane.
And that's a car that's already had its problems, of course, with the clutch drama in qualifying, with a punctured tyre earlier on in the race. It was down in 19th place a little earlier, and this enforced pit stop set to be yet another problem for them. Greg Murphy pressing on now, bringing down the gap between himself and his teammate. And there you can see a lapped car ahead of him in 16th place, Paul Stokel's Lamborghini. That was another one that had a puncture and then some brake line damage earlier on. The Lamborghini team playing catch-up, and Greg Murphy thundering on in pursuit of the race leader.
Doing a tremendous job. The current Bathurst winner just came out of Pukekohe, New Zealand on a big high, winning 2 races there. It's been a stellar year for Perth. Goes into next weekend's VIP Pet Foods main event at Eastern Creek with a real chance of an Australian touring car champion and a showdown between Marcus Ambrose and Mark Scaife. That'll be awesome. But the man now is on a move in the Just Car Insurance Monaro. The car he's hoping to give Peter Brock his 10th Bathurst win. He's caught up in traffic, chasing now down the Lamborghini, driven by Paul Stokel. Of course, the car that had the blown right-hand rear tyre broke the rear brake line earlier in the race, and unfortunately now has to come back through the field.
But it's doing the job, because it was 20th before we had that safety car situation. Now Paul Stokel's Lambo up into 16th place. Now he's, 4 laps away from the lead. A big slide for Paul Stokel. And that's the sort of damage bill you don't want if you cream the Lamborghini up against the wall at Bathurst. So a slide for Paul Stokel. You see what I mean about the top drivers pressing on that fraction too much, and suddenly it could all go a bit pear-shaped like that.
$700,000 Lamborghini GTR. No doubt about it. Car 24, Tim Harvey was to come through for a stop-go penalty. He's elected actually to, no, he's taking it now. They're waving him out of pit lane. So again, costly time for the Surtec team. Stokel being pushed and probed by Greg Murphy down through the Caltex Havilland Chase. The old Lambo, the rear end, almost stepping out in the wet. Class act from 2 class drivers.
And of course, they're battling as though it was for position. They're on different laps. In a sense, you could argue that Stokes should get out of the way and Murphy just let him go.
So there it is, the Lamborghini just holding up the Monaro at the moment, although they'll be having a fantastic duel as they have all season in the Nations Cup here in Australia.
Yeah, Stokes sitting back there in 16th spot. He's effectively 40 laps, so he's 4 laps down. And Murphy now goes through, so he's got the run on him now, but 4 laps down. I mean, we saw the Monaro come back from some, I think, 12 laps down last year at one stage to come through and win the race. So in 24 hours, it can be done, no question about that. Is our class leader in Class E, the Australian Production Car Championship classes for cars effectively under $80,000 and 62. We've got, of course, Warren Luff, David Russell, Scotty Loadsman and Ian Luff sharing this car. And you can see again how they're pushing hard, absolutely pushing hard in these extremely greasy conditions. Ian Luff behind the wheel at the moment. Further back in the field, currently looking at car 70. Another one of the UK entries from Graham Nash Motorsport, David.
Yeah, the team here last year, that car was crashed by Chris Marrows at the top of the mountain last year. It's owned by Mike Newton, who's driving it at the moment. Mike races primarily these days in the FIA GT Championship in a Celine with Tommy Erdos, who's with him here this weekend. Mike's race at Bathurst, though, in the past. And the Super Touring days, Take Porsche losing it ahead of him. That's the Peter Floyd car that's already had a lengthy pit stop. Now it has a spin and somehow has managed to keep away from anything solid, and that was a great save.
Ian Donaldson behind the wheel too in the Team Kawasaki car, so he did extremely well to keep it off the Falcon Tyres wall there. Let's have a look at a replay of this incident we just saw, brought to you by Hankook Tyres. There's car 70 going through, and you can see he anticipates, he sees what Donaldson does and gave himself plenty of time and room to get around the car, and Donaldson quickly onto the brakes, stopped the car effectively rolling back into the wall. Richard, your race leader. There's the Holton leaderboard from Greg Murphy. The gap 20 seconds. Then Pater in the Ferrari back there in third. The first of the Group B cars. That's Marshall in the VIP Pet Foods car from Fitzgerald. John Bow. Gee, I tell you what, he's had a long stint in the BMW M3 GDR from Olsen.
And then Patrick Pearce, 8th. 9th is Mike Newton's car. In 10th is Condorius Angelo, 11th. And Paul Stokel up into 12th in the Lamborghini. A great fight back. Yeah, that's he's come all the way back through from 20th spot, I think, at one stage. There's Cramp in the BMW, the GT Performance class. Donaldson well back too, one of the outright contenders. Then Smith, Young, Roland, Graham Moore, first of the Invitational class cars. In fact, running second on the road in that category. James Phillip, the new Falcon GT. This enormous field at Mount Panorama for the 24-hour endurance race. 51 laps down. We don't know what they're going to do. Somewhere around 500 odd, we would say, in about 3,200 or so kilometres. It's like a Sydney to Perth sprint race as Fitzgerald puts a lot of pressure now on Marcus Marshall. They're going to run nose to tail down Conrod Straight. Is Peter Fitzgerald going to be close enough there to have a go as they approach Caltech Chase this time? Marcus Marshall, I think, has just managed to get enough of a gap as they blast down the straight to be able to hang on to this, but Fitzgerald is closing as they're about to sweep right into the first part of the chase. The two Porsches getting closer to one another. Fitzgerald has the difficult task, though, of getting past by going offline. He needs to pressure Marcus Marshall into a mistake, and Marshall, a very, very good driver indeed. Isaac will make one. Down to the end of the lap then, into VIP Pet Foods corner they come, and Marcus Marshall is still able to keep Peter Fitzgerald at bay.
Still chasing that cool water to try and keep those tyres cool. You can see that he's struggling on the Michelins, the soft compound Michelins compared to the Falcon tyres that Fitzy's got. And this is the battle, folks, for 4th and 5th. Again, chasing the puddles, moves over on the inside, wants to hang in there, doesn't want to come into the pits. It doesn't suit their pit strategy at the moment, so he's got to stay out there as long as he possibly can.
And that's also what John Bower is doing. He's got 22 minutes left of driving before he goes over the maximum permitted time, and he's trying to coincide that with the right moment to come in onto slick tyres. That's the view from the back of Marcus Marshall's Porsche, though. Peter Fitzgerald is getting closer and closer, and they've also got traffic to worry about here, Craig.
Yeah, this is a fabulous battle, folks, isn't it? The 24-hour endurance race always throws up these different sort of cars, different makes, models, slow traffic, fast traffic. There's the Surtec Porsche. Fitzy now, who won here in 1997 with Jimmy Richards. Same coloured car, but different specs at that time. Took out the 3-hour showroom showdown in a tremendous battle with the Ferrari of Neil Crompton's by 0.2 of a second. Locks up the inside. Shuts the door. Marshall shuts the door, but he's hung out to dry. Now it's a drag race. Marshall's on the inside. Up they run towards Falcon tyres. Fitzy is forced to yield.
Marcus Marshall had the line, but they've also got Jonathan Rowland's Surtec car ahead that they need to lap. Now Rowland has got to get out of the way, otherwise Marcus Marshall's going to be compromised. He dives through on the inside. He goes ahead of Rowland, and Peter Fitzgerald just gets past. Slight hesitation. You can't blame him for it, though. And Peter Fitzgerald, I reckon, has lost a length, possibly 2 there, to Marcus Marshall, but there's another back marker ahead of them now.
Absolutely. I mean, this is brave stuff for a 24 24-hour race under these conditions to be doing this sort of stuff through lap traffic. This is brave stuff. Marcus Marshall broke a clutch in this car last night. So brand new clutch went into this car before the start of today's race. Fitzgerald trying to chase him down. Andrew, what have you got for us?
I've got another interview, Grant. What's happening to your car? It's a great battle.
Look, it's going really well. We're just looking at it now. We've got the arch enemy Fitzy behind us. We just passed him, and Marcus is dynamite in these conditions, you know. I'm just a poor old seat filler. They dialed 1-800 fill a seat, and they got me.
Hey, look, you've got Clarkie here with you. I think you should do the interview, isn't mine?
Oh, okay. Rightio, Clark. So what do you reckon we should do? We should just go out here, and I think you should go in next because we're making some pretty good grounds in these conditions, and you guys drive these cars all the time. I don't.
Well, I'd leave Marcus in it if I were us. He's doing a fantastic job. But yeah, I think it'll be a fight between you and me. Who's going to go out next?
I'll go rock, paper, scissors, and no, in fact, I'll just give it to you.
You know what we do in television? Cut, that's enough.
The Mosler, in the meantime, lying in 8th place at the moment. Patrick Pearce behind the wheel of the car. We saw it have that big slide at the top of the mountain a little while ago. Patrick Pearce racing here for the first time. He's only had really one race in this car. That was a club race in the dark at Donington a month ago to give him some experience of the car and also racing at night. Well, here he's got to experience it in the wet, and you can see how the car squirms around as he tries to apply the power and then anchor it up for Caltex Chase. Again, a little bit of lock needed, a bit of correction there to get the car back in a straight line. Patrick Pearce, a great young talent in GT racing, though.
Car that won the British GT Championship earlier this year too for Martin Short, as we ride with him down to VIP corner, moves through, runs wide. You can see he's gone in there too hot. Kept it together though, but really struggling for grip.
Yeah, in a sense here, Craig, you've got the two ideals, because that car, as you rightly say, run by Martin Short's Royal Centre Racing team, did win the British GT Championship outright, and Patrick Pearce won GT Cup driving the Porsche. So you've got the champion team in car and a champion driver. You put them all together, and it's a good package this weekend.
I wonder why he's pushing so hard. I mean, the car is absolutely on the edge, has been for the last half lap or so. We saw him have a major moment at Skyline. And you can actually see water dripping in too. So he's, as the rain continues to pour down at Mount Panorama, he's certainly pushing hard.
Yeah, he's lapping a little bit slower, I should say, at the moment than is the Michael Bartels Porsche ahead of him. So he's really got to try to catch up to the Porsche ahead. Down at the moment in 8th place, Martin Short's car, driven by Patrick Pearce. He can't afford to lose too much time, though. That's the problem to the Michael Bartels Porsche, so he's got to try and press on as best he can.
Absolutely gorgeous car. Built in America by Warren Mosler, fitted with a 5.7-litre Chevy Corvette-based engine. Not a lot of horsepower again. I don't think they get out of these cars, do they? Some 450 around there, but quite a light car, and of course aerodynamically absolutely superb.
And Warren Mosler is here as well this weekend. I just wonder whether you might see some more Moslers in Nations Cup next year.
Been a lot of interest, and I know one particular Queensland driver, I won't tell you his name, but he's an Abalone diver. I know has been very serious about maybe picking up a Mosler for next year. Again, very, very slippery conditions and brave stuff so early into a 24-hour race under these conditions. It's quite clear that the word from Martin Short is that we're going for the outright win, lose no track time.
Well, that's right, and also, of course, what they've got to do is try to compensate, in a sense, for the other drivers that may not be able to match their time. So that, again, is another reason why they're pushing on like this. Patrick Pearce then now down to the Alcantar's elbow, swings left, back on the power. You've got to be a little bit careful here. You can't just floor the throttle, otherwise the car will take off without you. And headlights on. Patrick Pearce now down Conrod Straight. The race leader remains Stephen Richards on lap 56 of the Bathurst 24 Hours, and this car is a lap behind, down at the moment in 8th place.
55 laps down here at Mount Panorama. And problems for the Certec Porsche.
Car 24, this is Jonathan Rowland behind the wheel that he's sharing with the British Touring Car champion Tim Harvey, Herman Tilke, and Australian female racer Melinda Price. Now, obviously he's lost it in the greasy conditions, just banged the wall at Skyline. I tell you what, lucky he didn't do a lot more damage.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be too bad, and it's only going to be cosmetic changes they need to get that car back out onto the circuit.
More problems too. This is the Mark Cohen HSV GTS. I think it's Fabian Coulthard behind the wheel at the moment. Now that has stopped almost on pit straight.
So he has to go the entire length of the track to get back to the pits.
You can see the taxi sign on the top of the car because he's a taxi driver from the western suburbs, the car owner Mark Cohen, maybe just trying to pick up a cheap fare.
A flagful or something, yeah. Well, problems there for the car, and that's real disappointing. Now, he can work on the car as long as the mechanics don't touch it, is that correct?
That's correct. Problems too for the BMW M3 GDR of John Bower, Neil Crompton, Greg Crick and Mahir Al-Gadri. In fact, John Thompson's in the pits with Neil Crompton now.
When I first went out, John, it was we didn't change the wets. We left the other wets on, the existing wets, because we figured the warm tyres were the go, but the rears were shot, so it was an absolute nightmare when I first got in the car, but Phil just said, look, don't worry about it, press on with what you got. And as soon as the moment came where you could put slicks on the car, we put slicks on it, and it was actually quite good. Traffic's just, you know, it's real hard work, but when you could get a reasonable rhythm, I found you could make some pace in the car in a couple of good, easy, lazy places, and yeah, so I was quite happy with the stint, but obviously it's not good when you're in here.
Well, PHR Scuderia team boss Terry Little was saying that it was unfortunate that they didn't get the car earlier. They didn't get enough development time, and they were unsure what sort of problems they were going to have when they got here to Mount Panorama, and obviously that car having a major problem. In fact, John Thompson's down in the pits and has more information on what is wrong with this car as we see it come back out onto the circuit, Tomo.
This is the component that actually broke. This is the tail shaft. It's sheared right through the middle here. That's how it should sit, like that, and it bolts through to the diff from the front-mounted engine. But as you can see, the power of the 5-litre V8 BMW has just snapped it, and that's what held the PHR 420 car up for so long in the pits.
Well, long night ahead for the car owner, Mahir Al Ghadri, going out now in the BMW M3 GDR. But this is the superb effort by the Falcon Tyres team.
Yeah, they've done a great... Oh, problems for the Morgan.
Car 66, I think that's Neil Cunningham behind the wheel.
Well, this is a bit of a shock. BMW reliability under the bonnet of that car, and we expect it to go a lot further than this, but you can see the trail of oil it's leaking. It's expired big time.
Looks terminal too. I tell you what, they had overheating problems earlier in the day. Their first attempt here at the Bathurst 24-hour endurance race, and so many fans excited to see this rather unique-looking car here. Let's go to Daryl Dixon in pit lane, find out what the problem is with the Morgan Aero 8.
We just seen the car come past front of pit straight. It was going solidly at doing 30s and 28s, so we were really happy. Then it's just started to smoke really bad coming up pit straight, so I believe it's parked around the corner. Hopefully they'll recover it fairly quickly and we can get it back into the pits and see what's going on.
Not a great sight for the world's oldest privately owned car manufacturer, Morgan, being towed behind the pit apron.
Yeah, it's a long way to come for nil result, and it's being dragged away at the moment. And you'd have to assume by the look of the damage that we saw as the car came round. Bigger problems!
Oh, that's on top of the mountain. That's at Skyline.
That's the BMW of Mark Westbrook, I think.
Car 26, I tell you what, he's gone in hard too. That's a fast part of the track. There you are, there's the replay. Crunch into the tyres, upends the car, drags the tyres with it, spins the car around. Gee, I tell you what, he's gone in very, very hard.
You're right, Craig, that is an enormous hit. Look at the ferocity that it goes into the tyre wall with. Thank goodness there was a tyre wall there.
Just amazing stuff. Car 71, the Talon 2 Quirks Refrigeration BMW M3 in the pits. Now this car has had a seesawing battle for the class lead with the Steve Cramp Wayne Russell BMW.
Yeah, it was a strong car last year, and they've got a pretty good crew right behind it for their camp. Oh, problems for Al Ghadri.
Al Ghadri in car 420A, the one that just left the pits not that long ago. The John Bow, Greg Crick, Neil Crompton car now. That has stopped coming up the mountain. And by the look of the left-hand side of the car, it seems to be quite a bit of damage. You can see the front guard has drooped down a little bit. And don't know what's caused that, although word from race control is there may well have been an incident with 05, Peter Brock at the time.
Well, hopefully the 05 car's still okay. We'll see if we can pick it up for you, but Mahir Al Ghadri will not be happy about that. There's the 05 car just going behind the safety car at the moment as car 48 comes into pit lane.
Started a race of pit stops. This is a car that's sat well in third spot for most of the weekend. The BE Racing Team car engineered by Australian Paul Cruikshank. Klaus Engelhorn getting behind the wheel as the Al Ghadri Bow Crick Crompton BMW. And you can see again the left-hand rear wheel hanging over at a horrible angle. So I'd say a lot of damage to the car.
Yeah, disappointment for them. They just got the car back out onto the track, and it was looking strong to try and finish this race. Safety car pulls off the circuit now, though. We're back under race conditions. The sun has set, the headlights are on. What a scene this is.
Car 427 continues to lead. The Just Car Insurance Monaro wraps up Steve Williams' Cromer exhaust. Future Tourer Holden Commodore as it goes through Shell Corner and up the mountain straight, with light rain now starting to fall again at Mount Panorama.
Raining, night time, Mount Panorama. What an unusual cocktail of problems for the Lamborghini car.
Yeah, word from Andrew Smith on the team radio. Car back on 11 cylinders, so they're trying to find the problem.
We still should be able to win with 11 cylinders. Problems also there for the Porsche. A lot of work actually going on in pit lane as this rain continues to fall. You can see it now. It's actually quite heavy here at the mountain.
Yeah, what a nightmare for team managers. How do you come up with a strategy? Constant changes in pit windows because of these conditions coming in for dry tyres, slick tyres. You never know what's likely to happen. Oh, more incidents too on top of the mountain in the greasy conditions. Now that's at the Donut King cutting. Trying to pick up who's involved in that, but it looked like a number of cars.
I know the 05 car got very close to the action as well.
It's Ahmed Charter's EL Falcon, Leithhead's Alfa Romeo, and Graham Alexander in the Evo 7 is the car facing the wrong way, so he's obviously been caught out in some form by the greasy conditions.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of damage too to the Evo 7.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like he's going very far, and the front of the car looking very skewed.
So turning it around now, you can see that plenty of steam coming out of the front end of the car, so coolant problems, a lot of damage to the rear end as well.
That's the last thing I think they need out on the circuit now. Coolant with all the rain falling. Continues to rain here at Mount Panorama. The cars are working their way around the circuit. Thankfully, the safety car won't be back out onto the track.
05, Greg Murphy in the car at the moment, but we believe that Brocky may well be back in the car. Willisby, Peter Brock's 10th Bathurst year, but what a fascinating race. There's no question about it. Since 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, this is what you've seen, folks. We've covered some 239 laps so far, 1,480 kilometres, and we're not even halfway into this race. 5 safety car periods, 13 lead changes, but only between the 2 Monaros. Brock, of course, Tander's car, swapping the lead for the whole time. Car still running about 40. 5 official retirements. The fastest lap, a 2:15.47, set by Greg Murphy in the car.
Now the complexion of the race has been changed compared to last year, partly by the more competitive entry, but also by the weather. It started in glorious sunshine, and then within 90 minutes or so, the track was awash, and we've had some more rain in the last 90 minutes or so. It's drying out again now. It's still damp and slippery offline, but nobody really can predict what's going to happen next weather-wise.
Let's have a look at the whole leaderboard for you. Murphy continuing to lead now in the Monaro from teammate Garth Tander. First of the Ferraris, David Brabham, some 3 laps down, but still carrying plenty of car pace. Paul Morris doing a tremendous job. These guys have been consistently in the top 5 all weekend.
And then chasing on behind them, we've got the Marcus Marshall-driven Porsche. That's 5th overall, the VIP Pet Foods back car, but it's being caught hand over fist now by Uwe Altsson, and that also the battle for first place in Class B. They're being chased by the Ferrari with Jenkins at the wheel, and then 4th in class, Rick Shaw's BMW.
Yeah, we'll watch that battle between Marshall and Altsson because it's down to some 16 seconds on track. Class D, the GT Performance category for cars under $160,000. Boylan's BMW continues to lead from Mark King. Further back in the field, Craig Dean hanging in there from Bob Hughes. Woods, Fabian Coulthard, the second cousin of David Coulthard, Hooker, and of course Westbrook out after that sensational rollover.
And then in Class E for the production cars under $90,000, Loadsman, Booker and Osborne, the top 3 in class there, and another good scrap developing as the race wears on.
Plenty of cars still running, 40 cars here at Mount Panorama, the 24-hour endurance race, and you're watching it live right around Australia on the 7 Network. We go back to the invitation class, Class F. Matthew Jackson driving the BMW M3R, which has pretty much led this class since the race started. Alex Young, the BMW, had a shocker of a run, of course, out with electrical problems in the car, and the Robert Brooks car also crashing on top of the mountain.
That's right, shunted into the wall, and that brought the safety car out just before the heavens opened for the first time in this race, and those 2 cars that really we were predicting in qualifying would be there at the end with a good result. Big surprises that neither of them, of course, have gone even halfway.
3 different manufacturers in the top 4, but it's Holden that continues to lead. Australia rules. Murphy, Tander, then Brabham in the Ferrari, Paul Morris in the Porsche, and that tremendous battle brewing between Marshall and Altsson has really been going on pretty much all weekend as well.
Yeah, through qualifying and through the race, you're absolutely right. They're on the same lap. About to rejoin is number 60.
So there's been a fuel spill too, by the look of the foam all around. Team manager Scotty Anderson, the big fellow in the blue singlet, I was going to say, the blue plastic bag.
It's going into the garage, and that's not a good sign. That's the car of Rod Salmon, Wayne Boatwright, Neil Caswell and Glenn Hastings.
The car was running 16th outright too, and in fact it was running about 4th on the road in its class.
It's always a bad sign when the garage looms. That's where the car is. Let's hope it's not going to be too long a stop. David Brabham at the wheel of number 48 now, this car that he shares with the Austrian driver Klaus Engelhorn, the ex-Grand Prix driver Andrea Montermini, David Brabham's Simtech teammate at one time, and the Austrian driver Philippe Pater, all sharing that Ferrari. He's now 3 laps down on the leading Monaros, and I just wonder now, Craig, whether we're getting to the stage where nobody else can win the Bathurst 24 hours, but Holden can lose it.
Well, they can, and the margin, certainly the lap margin, is nowhere near far enough now to certainly call a certain victory. We're not even into the race halfway. They came from 12 laps down to win last year. But in many cases, no, it wasn't a lucky win, but they did get luck on their side when, of course, David Brabham's Porsche broke a drive shaft. That cost him a lot of time in the pits and gave the Monaro the chance to claw back.
Now, you've heard Gary Rogers tell Andrew Marriott that the cars haven't missed a beat. Well, that's fighting talk in a 24-hour race, because we said it last year on numerous occasions, there's a long way to go and anything can still happen to those leading cars.
Now, Brock has had a problem. You'll see damage down to the left-hand side of the 05 car. He came together with Mahir Al Ghadri in the BMW M3 GTR at the top of the mountain. Forced the BMW into the wall. The car has been taken out of the race, quite heavily damaged, so while it's been a relatively trouble-free run, certainly the 05 still bears the scars.
That's right, and this now, Garth Tander at the wheel of 427. They're doing comparable lap times. The last time through, 05 and 427 both did laps 2:31.7. And also the Monaro is about to come across number 900, the car that was second last year, the Mosler. It lies 7th overall at the moment with Patrick Pearce on board, and the Mosler itself has had a fair few dramas in this race.
Looking at the lap times, though, certainly the Ferrari's not out of the question. 238 laps to Murphy's 241. The Ferrari lapping at 232.2. It got back on the lead lap and really got screwed in a safety car situation, which put technically the Monaros almost a lap ahead. Just the luck of the safety car situation under extremely wet conditions here, the BMW crashing on top of the mountain. So effectively, Brabham could well have been truly in the top two rather than where he is now. Race leader Peter Brock in the pits now as the car that's led this race for the last hour or so since the last safety car period anyhow comes in. Crew checking the rear end of the car. We'll listen to the radio for you.
Lift the bonnet and have a look under the engine bay.
Well, there you are. Clear words from team manager. While we've got the time, have a look under the engine bay. Check that everything's okay. Is there a problem with the car?
I reckon there is, because that's a concerned face there for the mechanic. They aren't doing this just for fun. There is some problem or some hint of a problem. Looking into the car, I still think it's Greg Murphy in that. Looking at it's a full face helmet, not the open face helmet that Brocky wears. Andrew Marriott's no doubt on the scene, ready to try and find out what the problem is.
Send him back over the line.
Shut the bonnet, send him back over the line. Andrew Marriott, you're on the spot. What's happening down there?
Yeah, the car is accelerating out of the pits. They did actually have a little bit of a problem with the windscreen wipers. There's just a bit of an underbody check. I can probably get Murph now. Murph, can I just grab you?
We wanted to run to the end of the tank to make sure it all worked, and obviously we didn't want a short stint it either. Wanted to go as far as it possibly could, so we just hung out there, and it was fine.
Well, there's the car on the track now. Jason Bright behind the wheel, who's taken over the 05 car. Now, only two cars on the lead lap. That's, of course, the Jason Bright Peter Brock 05 Monaro, the race leader, the red car you're seeing on screen at the moment. And last year's winning car, the 427 numbered car with Garth Tander behind the wheel, and then Brabham's Ferrari.
And at the end of this lap, of course, from Jason Bright, we'll get an idea of what sort of flying lap time he can do relative to that of Tander. There in the pit lane, number 71, the Peter Boylan BMW.
Yeah, class leader in the GT Performance class for cars under $160,000. Jeff Morgan jumping in behind the wheel now. Former chairman of Morgan & Banks and four-time Australian Porsche Cup champion jumping in. Car that's run consistently well all day today. They've had no real problems. Peter Hansen showing the car as well. Rick Bates. Car owner Peter Boylan, the MD of Quirks Refrigeration, and a car that rang so strongly last year too. Won its class and finished sixth outright. Grant Boyden.
Yeah, we've got Peter Boylan down here. He's just hopped out of the car. He's looking very hot and flustered at the moment. Peter, tough work out there.
Yeah, it's a bit wet up the top, and then it's dry in other places. And we're trying to work out whether we should put slicks on or stay with the wets. But in the cutting in a couple of places, it is very wet. So I thought, send Jeff out with the wets and see how it goes. But it is drying up fairly fast. I would have liked to have done another 3 laps and then put slicks on, but I was running out of time.
Well, good luck for the rest of the race,
Thank
Peter.
you very much.
Mark King running second in class in car 27. That's the Wayne Russell BMW. Running third in that class is James Phillip. They've come well too. That's the Falcon GT, car number 17. It started from the very rear of the grid yesterday afternoon when they had a fuel leak right at the start of the race. So they started dead last and have come through now to third outright. So a tremendous performance. Riding with James Phillip now across the mountain in the brand new FPV BA-GT. Of course, Ford have had a great history at Mount Panorama, winning the race back in 1967 in the first Falcon GT. Holden took it again in 68-69. The mighty GDHO with Alan Moffat came back to win it in 1970 and 1971 before Brocky had his first win in the Tirana XU1 back in 1972. But it's great to see the GT brand certainly back here at Mount Panorama. James Phillip doing a tremendous job. Trevor Haynes, the car owner, along with John Carroll, who put this deal together for the year. John Falk in this car as well, 3-time Australian truck champion. John drove a Tickford TE50, the Series 3 car, to a number of wins in this year's GDP Championship, and has been extremely competitive in this brand this year. James Phillip, currently behind the wheel, has won a Class C before in the Australian GD Production Championship, so he's pretty experienced. Trevor Schumacher, the man who imports Michelin racing tyres into Australia as well, jumping in with these 3 other drivers for this tremendous effort in the Falcon GT. Now down into the Caltex Hamilton Chase, hard under brakes. That glorious quad cam Boss engine just absolutely singing. Now coming down out of the chase and towards the Dunlop Bridge. Tremendous view here at Mount Panorama at night. You can see the Dunlop Bridge being totally lit up there as the car now dives down into pit lane. So Phillip is bringing the car into pit lane. It's running 3rd in class. We mentioned earlier they actually had a split fuel cell and have had a lot of dramas with fuel over the weekend, and actually had to start right at the back of the field, and he's clawed his way back through the field to be now in the top 3 in the class. Extremely professional team backed by Yamaha, as they have been all year, Sunshine Ford, and a bunch of other supporters that are really giving Ford a tremendous shot at the GT Performance Championship next year up against the HSV GDS. So BMW is running 1st and 2nd in the class, and then the first of the Fords, this BA GT.
You're looking at the Ferrari then of David Brabham. It's in 3rd place at the moment, this car. So we saw Klaus Engelhorn drive at the IndyCar meeting, but he's making his way now up towards the cutting. David Brabham, who rather strangely started the race, the first sort of 5 or 6 laps, not that rapidly. He was up there, but he wasn't really pressing on that much, and then suddenly it was though a switch had been flicked, and he suddenly got much quicker, carved his way into contention, and David Brabham, as ever, being very spectacular.
One of the co-drivers in this car, the former champ car, Formula 1 driver Andre Montemini, and didn't he do a tremendous double stint earlier too?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Montermini is another of these drivers that's a bit underrated, but round here he's going to prove just how good he is.
And Mark Britter's with him right now.
Well, it certainly is a pleasure to have him here with us, Andrea Montermini. Fantastic to have you here. You've enjoyed the mountain. How have you found the experience?
Fantastic. It was beautiful. I mean, the surface is handsome. It's great, and it's very, very nice to drive.
Now, Andrea, for all you've done, you've driven Formula 1 in Adelaide and Melbourne, you've driven Indy on the Gold Coast. How is this experience compared to some of the other racing that you've done around the world?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's very nice. I admit it's very nice because, you know, to be run on this circuit, like such many cars around, some exciting, and obviously it's good because, you know, we're racing for Ferrari in Ferrari. It's always a great fun.
Andrea, just very quickly, can you describe that feeling of going across the top of the mountain, what that's like in darkness?
In darkness, it's so nice. Actually, for us, doesn't change too much because we have our point where we look at. So we need to keep the floor, the throttle on the floor, very, very always. So we need to be very, very competitive. So we don't care too much about the night or the daytime.
So simple rule, just keep that throttle on the floor.
Exactly.
All right. Mate, great to have you here. Please, hope you enjoy your stay and good luck in the race.
Thank you very much.
Andrea Montemini, fantastic to have him here.
Well, 11 hours and 58 minutes to go, folks, so we're really in final countdown mode, aren't we, David Henderson? Not. Let's have a look at the Holden leaderboard for you. Greg Murphy continues to lead in the car he's sharing with Peter Brock, the 05 Monaro from Tanda. Brabham in the Ferrari. Morris, now there's been a lead change in Class B. The first time the Duvet Olsen has led in a tremendous time, and also the fastest car on the track at the moment, a 2:19.3 in these conditions.
That means he's lapping 2 seconds a lap faster than the leading Monaro. Behind him there, Marcus Marshall 6th, Patrick Pearce in the Moser is 7th, Ian Donaldson 8th, 9th is Freestone, and in 10th place now is Jenkins with the Ferrari.
You see that Olsen now coming down with the red glowing disc brakes. Isn't this sensational stuff, folks? I mean, you've never seen this from Mount Panorama before, except for the days of the old 12-hour, but midnight racing. So proud to bring it to you nationally live on the 7 Network, and just fantastic pictures.
Uwe Alton is a bit of a hero. He's a former Porsche Super Cup champion. He's raced for Porsche in the FIA GT Championship and dented the odd car. He's raced for Mercedes in DTM. He's been racing this year in the long distance Cup in Germany with his brother Jürgen Alton, and he is the fastest man around Mount Panorama at the moment. Uwe Alton then leading Class B. He lies 5th overall. Now he's 6 laps away from the overall race leader, but Alton is storming.
Tell us about his history. I mean, you mentioned briefly his credentials, David, but he's also a man you mentioned earlier that is quite likely to stick the car in.
Yeah, he can be, with all due respect, a bit of a rock ape at times. He came from a sprint race background, was then propelled into long-distance racing with Porsche, and I think he seemed to trip over David Brabham at Silverstone one year, I remember, driving in the FIA GT Championship. When he controls that speed and aggression, he's absolute dynamite, but it's when he takes his brain out of gear that there's always something that goes a little bit awry.
I guess the other thing we need to think about in terms of long-distance strategy too, David, I mean, the really tough hours, of course, are when you wake up first thing Sunday morning and realise you've still effectively got 8 hours or so to go, and it's a long, hard grind.
Yeah, daylight is very deceptive in this sort of event because you think, right, we've made it through the night, we're nearly home. No, you're not. Now, granted, the race started a little bit earlier this year, 2 o'clock, not 4 as it did last year, so that helps them out a little bit psychologically. But of course, in the early hours of the morning, when tired eyes, tired fingers for the mechanics working on components, that's when it really does start to take its toll.
Liz Halliday, one of the female drivers into the top 8. Too great to see. Paul Freestone in the 888 Porsche doing a good job, 9th outright from Roland. Luke Gilden in the Lamborghini up to 14th.
In Class B, though, it's Altson's Porsche ahead of Marcus Marshall in the VIP Pet Foods car. Jenkins 3rd in the class, and sad to say we lost the Morgan earlier on with its engine failure.
Class D GT Performance cars under 160,000k. Boyland continues to lead from Mark King's BMW, then Hastings doing a good job as well.
Hughes, Woods and Coulthard then leading in Class D, and some great battles raging on throughout the classes. That's one of the beauties of this race. You can have so many cars scrapping amongst themselves. In Class E, Loadsman, Osborne and Booker, the top 3 there.
Yeah, Holden Commodore leading Toyota Celica, going back to production cars under 90k, of course, that make up this tremendous 5-class race, the 24-hour endurance race from Mount Panorama. The BMW M3R and Matthew Jackson, Jamie Cartwright and Bruce and Berwick Linton continue to lead the invitation class. Alex Young and Robert Brooks both out.
And that's the surprise, because BMWs, we said in qualifying, are bulletproof. Well, those two, one had an ECU problem, the Alex Young car, the ex-Minardi Grand Prix driver, and Robert Brooks, the auctioneer, came down on the wall, didn't he, when he was given a little bit of a nudge by Tony Quinn. And sad to say, the Duller Motorsport BMW that went so well here last year onto a podium finish ain't going any further this year.
So coming up the Mountain 2 car 24, that's the British Touring Car Championship car of Tim Harvey. He's also clawed his way almost back into the top 11.
Yeah, that car's been bouncing off the wall as well, I'm afraid. Jonathan Rowland crashed it at the top of the mountain as it was going dark when it was wet, but they've fought back, had to have a new lower trailing arm and some front bodywork put on the car. Tim Harvey, former British Touring Car Champion, raced here in the Parson Super Touring, going well.
Same car that led the race for last year for 19 hours with David Brabham. Oh! The Mosler! The Mosler spun on top of the mountain. Now Heather Spurl, the female driver, is behind the wheel at the moment.
And she has done a fantastic job to keep that car off the wall. Plenty of people have done that before and not been able to continue on in the race.
I tell you what, I think she might have got caught up with a slower car. I couldn't quite pick up who it was, but I tell you what, she was so lucky. Well, you see how greasy the conditions are to get away with that.
Oh, I'm sure she'll have plenty of things to say about this one. Look at the car, stayed right in the centre of the track. She controlled it very well. Turned the wheel so the car spins around, points in the right direction, and it gets back on it again. Very professional job.
It was the Honda S2000, the Ross Palmer Motorsport car, that I think she may just have tagged the rear end of.
Yeah, well, it certainly cost her not only plenty of time, I'd say a few grey hairs will be on the head as a result of that.
Problems too for the VIP Pet Foods AEG Porsche back in pit lane. Now they've been suffering some kind of fuel problem. Car in for a top-up and a driver change. Looks like Clark Quinn getting back into the car.
Yeah, Clark will go well behind the wheel of this car. He's had recent experience at Mount Panorama and was very, very good. In fact, let's go down to the pits and catch up with the man who just stepped out of the car, Grant Denyer.
So how was your nighttime drive out there, Grant?
There's a few sad-looking cars out there at the moment. There's quite a few cars, including the Mosler, who are starting to play up, missing gears and bottlenecking the traffic. So I think we're getting to that tired stage of the night for the drivers and the cars. But same problem for us too. We had an air filter problem before that would just cut all the revs and happen just again. It's easily fixed, but you just got to persevere to your next fuel stop. So otherwise it's just not worth coming in. So, you know, we lost over a minute to our competitors.
Extremely difficult conditions here at Mount Panorama, as you can see. The Mosler MT900R now coming into pit lane, the car that is being currently driven by Heather Spurl. Martin Short, Patrick Pearce, Charles Land, the other three drivers, the car that finished second in last year's 24-hour race.
Well, after that big spin at the top of the mountain, Craig, I bet you can't wait to get out of the car and just go and take a few moments to herself to catch her breath. That was a very, very big moment. Car pulls up into its pit garage, ready to go.
You see some light damage to the front end of the car too. The Deutsche Bank backed superb car, the car that won the British GT Championship for this team this year in the UK. But, not a lot of damage. She was extremely lucky to get away with it. And Martin Shaw quite happy with where they're currently placed on the track too. They've run consistently inside the top 7 since pretty much the race start. So far, hold the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Craig, you can see that she stays in the car while they refuel, and all important. You know, nowadays the safety in these refueling sessions. Plenty of race tape going on the car.
Yeah, it's trying to patch up the front of it. Let's go down to the pits, Warren Dibb, to find out what happened with Heather Spurl.
Yeah, I clipped a back marker. I've been overtaking cars before that incident and after that incident in the same spot, but that one I just obviously cut it a bit close, or he turned into me a little bit. I'm not sure. I'd have to see the TV coverage, but either way, we got a bit too close and it did a 360 up there, and I was lucky to keep it off the wall. But
well, she certainly had a moment at the top of the mountain that you'll remember for a long, long time. Car 23 on screen at the moment, the BMW, the Berwick Linton, Bruce Linton entry in this race.
Yeah, car that's leading Class F, also crewed by Jamie Cartwright, Matthew Jackson, a BMW M3R. Originally built by Frank Gardner and Ralph Bellamy at the Gold Coast for production car racing a number of years ago, but we haven't seen the car for 2 or 3 years in race trim, but they're putting in a tremendous performance this weekend.
We have seen Berwick throughout the season in the Australian Championship. He raced a couple of times and did a great job in keeping his nose out of trouble too.
Yeah, this one's a different car that we normally see. Oh, problems for... Gee, I'll tell you what, I think that may well be the BE Racing Ferrari 360 GT. Yes, it is. Now, that's at Forest Elbow, so I don't know whether he's turned the car around, whether he's hit the wall. Problems also for the unique cars Ferrari 360 Challenge in pit lane.
Yeah, this has come as a real shock. The 11 car being pushed up pit lane at the moment.
Word from Paul Cruikshank, engine failure in the F360 GT Ferrari driven by Klaus Engelhorn.
Yeah, disappointment that. Look at this car on screen at the moment. Coming down under brakes, have a look at them glow. Gives you a realistic idea of how hard these cars have got to work around Mount Panorama over a 24-hour period.
Yeah, the John McElroy, Ken Douglas, Chris Stewell, Phil Kirkham, BA Turbo XR6 as the sun starts to rise and claw its way through the clouds here at Mount Panorama. Yeah, the McElroy car running in Class E for production cars, but running in the GT Performance class is a brand new Falcon GT, the E-Bank trade car, driven by Craig Dean, Chris Smith and Bill Pine.
Chris Smith, how you feeling being on the mountain in a GT, mate?
2 hours in a GT, mate, that's just heaven. I tell you, they could build good cars in Bendigo. Those boys have done a fantastic job. I mean, who would have thought you'd come here with a car that's done about 4 hours, thanks to Bob Jane at Calder, giving us the use of the circuit last Friday, and we did a bit of setup and then came here. It's way too soft for the circuit, but in the wet, it's a gem, absolute gem.
Yeah, Craig, just to explain what he's talking about there, that car of his doesn't have a very stiff suspension setting on the car at the moment. It's not suited to the dry conditions out there. However, when it rains, the car does come into its own, and it's overtaking cars left, right and centre. We saw that early last night.
Car running 5th in its class and 23rd outright, so they've slowly worked their way through the field and given it as a brand new car, only been tested, as he said last week. It's a tremendous achievement to come here to Mount Panorama and have such a great consistent result.
Well, you think about the way it's going at the moment and problems for the VIP Pet Foods Porsche going into pit lane. I was just thinking, imagine what it's going to be like with that other car when they do get a bit of development time.
Yeah, fuel tank change for this car. They've got some kind of blockage in the fuel system, so they're going to take the time out now to change the tank and fuel filters over in a hope to cure the engine problem.
Yeah, we saw this last year with other cars, and it doesn't mean it's the end of your day by any stretch of the imagination. Still a long way to go in this race.
Magnificent shots, folks, from Mount Panorama as dawn breaks over this 6.2 kilometre track. Give you an idea of how high this mountain is. It has a 1 in 6 grade at the steepest part and that glorious Conrod Straight.
It's an incredible circuit, and racing through the night, right on dawn as we are now, it's an incredible feeling going across the top of the hill.
The Alfa Romeo GTA, 156 GTA, being driven by Leithhead, Dorman, Dowry and Booker. I tell you what, they've had a great run too. 21st outright and 2nd in their class.
Yeah, and you can think about it, Craig. This is a car that's only very, very early on in its development phase. This is effectively its 3rd outing on a racetrack, so give them some time, some spanners, and this should be a very strong car.
Stephen Richards leads this race in the 427 Monaro from 05 Peter Brock. The Fitzgerald Porsche running 3rd outright at this stage.
The sun continuing to make its presence felt. There's still a few grey clouds hanging overhead. What will this day have in store for us?
Yes, hours starting to wind down now. This second ever 24-hour race from Mount Panorama, Bathurst, and dawn breaking. Oh, plenty of action in the pits too for the Mechler, Kovacs, James Brock, Mark Braham, Honda S2000, the Formula Green car.
Yeah, had big problems with that car's rear suspension overnight, whether it's clipped a wall or somebody's given it a tap. The car was wanting to change directions going down the straight by itself, and looks like there's a continuation of same.
Good result here too for the CVW engineering car of Wayne Russell. This car has been trading the class lead all night with the Peter Boylan BMW. The car heads out of the pits now, but down to Warren Dim to talk to Wayne Russell, who's just jumped out.
The car is just absolutely sensational. We'll just keep our fingers crossed we can keep it going right to the end. But we were cracking times of, I think, 34s, 35s the whole time, and it was doing it real easy. So, man, we're just absolutely wrapped. We'll just keep our fingers crossed. It's still a long way to go, eh?
He also overnight put in a 1:32, which was the fastest lap, but he's puffing a bit there, did you notice?
Problems too for the Berrigan Bruce Linton BMW M3 in the pits. Looks like it's got a differential problem. This was a car that was stopped on the track earlier. So a car that led its class, the class invitation class, for so many hours, and now dropping serious time.
Well, the good thing is that they're working on the car in pit lane, which is an indication to say that they can fix it, and with any luck they should be able to get back out onto the track. They need to do it quickly though if they're going to continue to battle out F-Class.
There's your race leader, the 427 yellow Monaro, and that's the Lamborghini, the Donut King Lamborghini, trying to outlap itself. It's now between the two Monaros, the 05 and the 427 car. Now the Lamborghini has worked its way up inside the top 10. It's currently running 9th outright, running 4th in its class. At one stage was as low as 20th.
Yeah, Alan Simonson on a bit of a charge at the moment, really stretching the Lamborghini's legs, trying to look around the outside of the Monaro and go straight through. So he's fought back and picked up another lap on himself.
What a shame we didn't see the speed from the Lamborghini early in the race.
Yeah, it is a shame that they had problems, because the car, I think, is proving a few people wrong. A lot of people expected there to be reliability problems with this car. It's been pretty good.
Oh,
Craig Dean.
Car 3.
That's down in the Chase, Craig.
That's the Caltex Havilland Chase. So the Bank Trade, the E-Bank Trade, brand new Falcon GT, shared by Craig Dean, Bill Pye and Chris Smith has gone in. Here's the replay.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a bit of a moment down in the Chase, tried to correct it, bringing it back onto the track, and just overcorrected and just bogged it down in the sand trap.
Yeah, team was doing so well up until this point anyhow. Further back in the field, one of the production cars, another Ford. This is the BA XR6 Turbo, car 95.
John McElroy, Ken Douglas, Chris Stillwell and Phil Kirkham looking after the driving duties of this car this weekend.
Yeah, so far a pretty consistent run from the car we saw debut earlier in the year in the Pro Car Champ Series. It's done limited miles, I think only 2 or 3 race meetings, with the aim of having a very, very consistent, reliable run here at Mount Panorama this weekend.
On board the car now. This is what it's like going across the top of the mountain as the sun comes up over Bathurst City.
Oh, problems.
Oh.
Now that's one of the Nissan 200 SXs. I don't know whether it's car 200 or car 222, one of the Haysom Motorsport cars.
Yeah, looks like it's gone into the tyre wall very hard. It's coming onto the start-finish straight, so he's obviously had some sort of problem as he tried to restart the race. And in fact, look at that, Craig, there's actually 2 cars that have gone into it. I wonder if these two have had a coming together.
Yeah, this is car 200 of its Haysom Woods.
Well, that's the confirmation they haven't.
Robinson and Hunt, so not quite sure who's behind the wheel, and crunch into the wall. So it suggests with the Parker Brothers Commodore and obviously the Nissan in the bunker at the same time, undoubtedly we'll be calling for a safety car very shortly.
We've got Ralph Bellamy with me. You've managed to get to the bottom of the problem here?
Oh, yes. Yes, the final drive has failed and we're just replacing it. It doesn't take very long. These guys do this every day. It's part of their work, so we'll be back on the track in a few moments.
Unfortunately, though, you've slipped down to second in Class F.
We're down 1 lap on the leader now, but we'll get that back because there's a lot of racing yet.
Oh, and problems also for the Charter Gillespie McFarlane Sutherland entry. It's right out in the sand trap at the end of Caltex Chase. It's buried itself knee-high.
It might be Armin Charter behind the wheel. Yes, it is, in car 18, car that is an older model Falcon, EL, racing in the invitational class of the 24-hour race, but he's well and truly in there to stay, I'd suggest, too.
And you can see how much heat it was carrying underneath the car, the tyres smoking away.
Let's have a look at the replay. This is what happened. coming down into Caltech's chase, and a huge brake lock up.
Yeah, just completely locked it up, couldn't get off the brakes, went straight ahead, and carrying some speed too. Sandtrap did what it was required to. Didn't quite jump on the gas early enough and try and power out of it, and as a result, he's beached himself.
Oh! Another problem too. This is in fact the Keith Downing Alfa Romeo 156 GTA, and it's gone in hard.
We were looking at this car earlier on and saying what a great package it was. This is what went wrong. Came up into the cutting, got it all ugly, and hit the wall very, very hard.
Gee, hard to pick up what happened there, whether he got out on the marbles, he saw the Lindt BMW coming up behind him, whether he moved over onto the left-hand side of the track and then just got caught on the marbles and then sucked straight into the wall.
The Lamborghini back in pit lane 2 for a pit stop. Plenty of work going on around that car, and this is why.
Oh dear. Puncture number 7. Can you believe that for the Donut King Clarion Team Lamborghini Diablo GTR? Look at that, another blown left-hand front tyre.
And this is an unusual problem. This is not something that we've seen go wrong with the car throughout the series. It's just something that's reared its ugly head, but that's what Mount Panorama's all about, especially during 24-hour enduro races. You have to think on the fly to try and get there to the finish.
This is the Bathurst 24-hour endurance race, live at Mount Panorama. Following all these fabulous cars around the 6.2-kilometre track, Stephen Bonas behind the wheel of car 31, the sensational little Toyota Celica, running in the Australian production car class for cars under $80,000. Grant Boyden.
Yeah, car performing exceptionally well this weekend. Colin Osborne, the owner of the car, was saying that a lot of people were saying he was mad bringing these cars out here because they weren't proven. They've had a lot of reliability problems, but yet the car's still out there and circulating and doing well. Yeah, they've had their problems, Craig, but who hasn't this weekend?
Yeah, everybody except the Monaro team, just about by the look of it. But yeah, the Osborne Motorsport team have done a tremendous job. This car circulating back there, 4th in place at the moment in Class E, the Australian production car class. One of 2 Celicas being crewed this weekend by Osborne Motorsport and doing a great job. Car 8, David Addison, this car is performing pretty well. The Donaldson car inside the top 7.
That's right, it was a bad start for the Certec team with this car. It's running 7th at the moment. The car was blowing out smoke early on. It was then brought into the pit lane for that to be cured. Then apparently it was speeding in the pit lane. It's had a spin. It's been up and down the order a fair bit. But now it looks as though this really the surviving Certec car going well. You've got father and son, Ian and Andrew Donaldson, behind the wheel of it. And also sharing this car this weekend, Peter Floyd and Liz Halliday, who's come from equestrian into car racing and goes very well.
Peter Floyd, the car owner, brought this car to Australia for the 24-hour late race last year. Didn't have the best of weekends, and really this is only the second time he's raced this particular car, so it's nice to see they're finally getting a result with it.
As Certec, a team with unfinished business, of course, they came so close to winning last year and ended up with a damaged car.
Andrew Marriott also joining us in commentary. Porsche looking pretty good, but they so far can't run down those 2 Monaros at the front, Andrew.
No, absolutely not. And right at the moment, the Bartels car has gone off the pace by 5 or 6 seconds. I don't know if it has problems. It has circulated in the sort of 219s, and now it is circulating in the 227s.
Car on screen at the moment, car number 6 leading its class, and a bit of a fitness cloud over Uwe Altzen at the moment. He's got a stomach bug, sitting down in the back of the pit garages and not feeling all that well.
Michael Bartels admittedly is lapping a little bit slower, but of course it's comfortably in the lead of its class now, so maybe the team adopting just to go for a class win here rather than any overall heroics.
Yeah, Carl, the team manager, was saying that the car's performing exceptionally well.
I was going to say, but still with a chance of a podium finish. I mean, they've got 441 laps compared to Fitzgerald's 441 laps, so what would you go for, a class or a podium? I know what my answer would be.
You have to understand the German psyche.
Come here to do a job, quickly, cleanly and efficiently, a class win.
What's this all about? Is this a taxi?
Yes, never been known to miss a flight, Mark Cohen. This is the Mark Cohen taxi from Penrith in Western New South Wales. Car 44 at HSV 300 kilowatt.
Unfortunately, they've spent most of their time on the rank this weekend. They've had all sorts of problems with the fuel that they're running. The fuel's fine, but they've had surging problems for Certec. We were just talking about how good things were looking for them.
I'm a rear puncher.
This is like the start of the race all over again. Remember that first 2 hours, lots of punctures yesterday.
Oh, problems too for the Loadsman Commodore. This is the Loadsman Luff class leading Commodore at one stage.
Yeah, they've had problems with the power steering on that car, leaking oil, and that's been the problem, and there's a lot of oil smoke coming from underneath the car. I wonder if this is a continuation.
Rob Sherl telling Andrew Donaldson to bring the car in really slowly, don't do any damage to it. And thankfully he didn't have to limp too far. He doesn't have to limp too far down the pit lane either.
Andrew Donaldson, plenty of experience in endurance racing. There's a new championship in Britain, the European Endurance Championship. There you see him having a big moment with that flat. Not sure if he picked up a puncture.
Well, he's 6 laps up on the next car, Andrew, so he's pretty secure in that place at the moment, which is 7th overall.
As we saw early on in the race, sometimes you have a puncture like that, you can do quite a lot of damage, brake line, or there's a rear stay behind there, which sometimes when they actually have the tyre go, it pulls the rear stay out, and they have to fix that.
Speaking with Clark Quinn a few moments ago and said, can you catch that car and take, you know, outright class honours? He said, not unless something goes wrong with it, and gave me a big cheeky grin.
Gary Young behind the wheel of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7 that's running in Class D for GT Performance cars under $160,000. I think these guys have had pretty much a trouble-free run too, Grant, most of the weekend.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's been a good weekend for them. They haven't been out there pushing it in super quick lap times and upsetting anyone. They've just been driving nice and consistently. And the Gary Holt team having Michael Spies on board as their tactician this weekend. Michael Spies, for those who don't recognise the name, has won countless number of almost of Sydney to Hobart yacht races, which Gary Holt has also been involved in. In fact, Michael Spies jumped on board the Nokia team and basically took an unproven team to an outright victory in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. A very, very smart sailor and a guy who enjoys coming out and playing motorsport.
This car now running at 4th in class, Andrew.
We should just say that the Monaros are circulating now 5 seconds off the pace. They're just stroking it around.
Picking up car 27 now, back in Class D. In fact, this is 2nd in Class D. The car that's owned by Wayne Russell, currently being driven by Mark King, has had a race-long battle with the Peter Boylan BMW, which is leading the class at the moment, but it's now dropped 1 lap behind in the last 2 hours, Grant.
Yeah, they were hoping to try and pick up under the last safety car, but it wasn't to be. I spoke to Steve Cramp before the weekend started, who's one of the pilots of this machine, and he said, look, I've got to tell you, I've got real doubts about the car making the finish. I'm worried about the reliability, which was unusual to come out of the Wayne Russell camp. They usually prepare pretty good cars. Fortunately, the car's been going, and I caught up with Steve a few moments ago, and he said, no, this car is just doing everything right. I cannot complain about it. It's running Mark King Springs this weekend, with Mark King being one of the other drivers. He said, it's a pleasure to drive. We're cruising around, enjoying ourselves. We still have a little bit more under the bonnet. We might just wait and see how this race progresses.
Yeah, we've talked about the fact you don't want to do anything too heroic at really any point during the race unless you absolutely have to, and the team's now very concerned that having got this far, they just want to get to the finish.
Yeah, you know, and it's one of those situations that they've got no complaints at all with it. They're getting good fuel mileage out of the car, so everything's falling into their plate. Of course, they are a lap down and they've got plenty of work to do, but, you know, with 3 hours still to go in this race, anything can happen. We saw Certec sitting there comfortably a few moments ago. Rear tyre blew, put them down into pit lane, an extra pit stop, something they didn't need at the moment. Fingers crossed for the BMW team. Car number 31 on screen at the moment. As we look back at this car, currently sitting in 3rd spot, Paul Morris behind the wheel of the 54 car. A car that's a couple of laps down on our race leaders, but still looking very, very strong. We said coming into this race that the Porsche mark, Andrew, would be very, very strong, and it's living to prove right here at the moment that it's probably one of the only cars that hasn't had a major problem with it.
No, they've had a very good run indeed. I mean, Porsche do build these cars to last. The whole Porsche reputation is built on sports car racing. They have a very strong customer race department under Jürgen Barth back in Germany, and they've just been racing these 911s so long, they've just got better and better and better, and, you know, over the period of 30 years almost. And they have a lot of horsepower. That engine is so strong, that Boxer unit just produces so much horsepower. Now here's the car that had the green light shining under it last night.
Yeah, you can see the green tape at the back right-hand quarter panel of the car.
If you can hear me, we need to try and conserve fuel.
Information going through to Mark Brain there to try and conserve fuel. What happened with this car is that apparently it touched the wall and bent a rear strut. Now, James Brock, I should say, was out in the car last night, and the car coming down Conrod Straight was wanting to fishtail at around 160 kilometres an hour. He said, I forget this, I'm going into pit lane, guys, fix it. I don't want to drive it until it's working properly. It was a scary proposition.
Anton Menschler, Charlie Kovacs, Jamie Brock and Mark Braham sharing the car. Mark, no stranger to many Bathurst victories, particularly in the 12-hour races in little Suzuki Swift. I think he had 4 or 5 class victories on the trot, so he loves this track. Now, this is not a car that's actually owned by Martin Short. I believe this is now leased from Mosler.
This is one that was brought across to Martin's team after his original car that we saw here last year was written off at Thruxton, and they got this car within about a week of the Spa 1,000 kilometres.
Here it comes, David.
Race car, and it won the Spa 1,000 Ks on the last lap. It's in the pit lane now, Andrew.
Certainly is. So this team, who most of them worked with Martin since the days when he was the king man in TVRs, go to work.
That's Heather Spurl about to get into the car. The tall framer Patrick Pearce out, and Heather Spurl into the Mosler. Martin Short was saying to me after a long stint in the car last night, he had so much cramp in his body he couldn't get out. He had to be pulled out of the car.
Getting out's another story.
Especially when you're as old as Martin, yeah. Well, the car is fit. And a big lose there for 27.
Mark King behind the wheel too.
Oh, and it's lost a wheel.
Oh, no. Torn off the right rear wheel. Gee, this is the car that's running second in Class D.
Here's the replay of what transpired. Car turns in. Bang.
Oh dear.
Nothing you can do to save it.
If we can get it back to Park from A, we can put the standard wheel starts back in at May.
Just under 3 hours, or just over 3 hours to go after what has been a tremendous performance, second in class, and how would you feel, eh?
Well, I think Mark King just about summed that up a few moments ago. Disappointed, to say the least.
Des Wall behind the wheel of 888, the PHS or PHR Scuderia Porsche 911 GT3 RS, a car that has a long, consistent run, certainly into the top 8 so far, Andrew.
Yes, indeed. A fantastic job in the night by Will Power, the young Australian who's been racing in Formula 3 in Britain. In fact, during the night, he put in the fastest time of any Porsche driver at 2:16.05. I understand they'll put Will back into the car for the final 3 hours of this race. So this will be the last stint, I should think, from Des Wall, who's done a very good job indeed.
Yep.
And the 888 car, it is, well, 6 laps behind the car in front of it, which is the Donaldson Certec car. So really they haven't got too much they can do. They can't really make that gap up unless something goes wrong. But I think Will Power will want to give it the big one again, just to show people that he might be a Formula 3 driver, but he knows how to drive a Porsche very quickly.
This is car 45, the Honda Integra Type R, Alan Shepard's thrifty car Grand Boyden, a car that's also been circulating pretty reliably, but looking fairly second-hand as we wind down to the final 2.5 hours of this race. Greg Dorler behind the wheel of car 45 at the moment.
Yeah, he's not the only car out there that's looking second-hand at this particular stage in proceedings. The car, it's been through the wars, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still out there continuing to circulate, and that's what's important.
Car 222 on the screen at the moment, and this car has had 1 engine change so far in this race. Its team car 200, I believe, has had 3 engine changes.
Unbelievable. They're sitting there on their 4th motor at the moment. Life is just not going good for them.
Didn't start because they both started with the pit lane.
It's a long weekend for that car. Car 222's had its own problems throughout the weekend too. They had problems with all throughout the weekend with a problem under the bonnet that they won't tell us too much about, but it kept them in pit lane, particularly during practice and qualifying. They've been able to get it back out onto the circuit, and good to see that the Haysom Motorsport crew have been able to last this one, albeit through the wars.
And they're going to be gobbled up by the 2 Holdens coming through nose to tail now.
1.8 tenths of a second, the gap between first and second. Stephen Richards and Peter Brock, 4.27 at 05. Blast past 2.22 as it motors up Conrod Straight.
The important part is to maintain the car out on the track. You never know.
Problems. Now, is that the Linton BMW M3R? Stopped on the track at Falcon Tyres Curve. This was a car that was running second in its class, the Invitational class. Car 23. Yes, it is the Bruce Linton car. Let's see who is behind the wheel at the moment. In fact, it was Jamie Cartwright, the Gold Coast dealer principal of Gold Coast MG Rover.
Do have one Ferrari left in the race, as you can see. Had a long stop. There's that car. Can't really understand. I would think, have a transmission problem to be halted there like that.
They, yeah, must have broken a drive shaft or something like that. Richard Wilson behind the wheel of the Unique Cars Ferrari 360 Challenge at the moment. This car lost some 4 hours overnight when it had a crash, crunched the left-hand front, as you can quite heavily see. Spent 4 hours in the TAFE bay. They finally, the NRMA smash repair guys, got it repaired and back on the track now.
Yeah, I think I'd like the concession for the racer tape sales here at Bathurst. There's another racer tape special.
Ian Palmer, Theo Konduras, Paul Jenkins and Richard Wilson teaming up in this car.
Yeah, Ian Palmer's had a pretty long weekend, raced V8 Brutes earlier on in the weekend as well as part of a 2-car team.
Safety car on the track now.
Safety car, yellow flag, Richard will come in anyway, mate, no matter what. Come in anyway.
So Richard Wilson being told by the team to bring the Unique Cars Ferrari 360 Challenge into pit lane. It's running in Group 2B of Group 2 Nations Cup.
Here's the car we were talking about a few moments ago. Greg Hastem at the wheel of this one. 4th motor they're running in this car this weekend. And look at the front of the car under brakes, shaking itself. A lot of gaffer tape on this car too.
Yeah, well, they get another 2.5 hours out of the gaffer tape. That's the big question. Forget the tyres and brakes, folks. Is the front end going to hang together on this thing?
It probably weighs another 2 or 3 kilos more now. The crew have worked so hard on these cars. Really committed. I mean, I don't know where Greg finds them, but gee, they must be pure and utter motorsport enthusiasts, Craig.
I think the word committed is right. Greg finds them in...
committed institutions.
Absolutely. Anybody that wants to put 4 engine changes between these 2 cars in 24 hours is amazing stuff.
As we watch Manfred Irash make his way up the mountain again, there's another Porsche that's been strong this weekend.
Well, yeah, but they've had a lot of problems too. They're back there in 35th spot. I think they had quite a heavy accident overnight, replaced a lot of panel work, particularly on the front end of the car.
It came up pit lane looking like an open wheeler. The front guards were off, the back guards were off. It was an incredible looking machine.
Manfred's a very experienced driver. He's not the oldest man in the race, same sort of age as Peter Brock, actually.
There's the class-leading car of Steve Williams in Class F, the blue Commodore, future tourer car, which has done a good job to get past particularly the Jamie Cartwright BMW. And of course now that will move Jeff Parker maybe up to second. More than likely he's some 4 laps behind Cartwright, so Cartwright now having to be taken on the back of the tip tray back to the pit area will nearly hand Parker second spot in that class. These guys have had a good run overnight, backed by Kramer Exhaust. Also had a fairly strong performance here during last year's 24-hour race as well.
Terry Bosnijak's just hopped out of the car. He's had a pretty long stint in this machine, and they've got no major complaints with it. They're saying, you know, it's been one of those weekends as it has for everybody, but they can't complain about the way the car's handling out on the track. And once again, another team feeling reasonably confident of making the checkered flag.
New class leader too in Class E, folks. The Roken Toyota Celica has gone to the class lead ahead of Mark Brame in car 13. So these guys are doing a tremendous job too. Winding down in the final hours of this 24-hour race from Mount Panorama. And you mentioned earlier, Grant, there was a lot of thought about these cars not actually making the distance after a number of engine failures so far this year.
Yeah, and Colin Osborne totally refuted that. He said, OK, maybe we don't have the runs on the board at the moment. Maybe it hasn't proven itself, but that doesn't mean the car can't do it. We believe it can, and so far, he's right. Jeff Waters, David Sala and Peter Gazzard teaming up this weekend to drive this car, all for, Commodore Cup competitors. And I said to Jeff earlier on, I said, who's in the car at the moment, I said, this must be like mates going out and racing on a Sunday. He said, well, this was the whole team philosophy. If we're going to go to Mount Panorama, we're going to spend 3 days living in each other's pockets. We may as well be friends. He said the team unity is absolutely incredible. Yeah, sure, we don't have all the toys that the big boys have got, but we've got a good car. It's reliable so far this weekend, and we're happy with where we're situated. If we can finish this race, that is a win for us.
Still under safety car, car 37, the Peter Levis, Shane Brangwyn, Tony Alford, John Grounds, Donut King Mitsubishi Mirage, a car that at one stage was as high as 4th in its class.
Yeah, Tony and John have worked throughout the season to prepare themselves for the Bathurst 24-hour. And Peter Levis, who ran second in the series for a couple of years, very, very fit campaigner, and is promising to be a real good contender here at Mount Panorama. So to that car on screen, the 4 car, VJ Angelo, Mark Williamson, Scott O'Donnell, and probably the key, Rick Shaw. He's been doing a lot of testing and a lot of development work on that car, and he's got a lot of pace out of it, Craig.
Yeah, a car that also did very, very well here at the first 24-hour endurance race at Mount Panorama.
VJ had an absolute ball that year, 222. Unfortunately, things haven't gone his way this weekend, and that smile that we saw last year, not quite as big this year, but as long as the car can hang in there, it'll be a great result for he and the team.
This is the Bathurst 24-hour endurance race presented by Formula Green. Stephen Richards, the race leader from Peter Brock. Morris, the first of the Porsches from the Olsen Brothers car. Then the Mosler with Heather Spurl behind the wheel. Marcus Marshall in the VIP Pet Foods car. Donaldson's Porsche. Then Will Power in the GT3 RS.
Yeah, sitting in 8th spot at the moment. Triple Eight doing a great job. Simonson back there in 9th. The Lamborghini fighting its way back through the field. The Bates car, look at that. Sitting there at D-Class up in the top 10.
Steve Cramp running second in class from the Boatright Subaru with Hastings behind the wheel at the moment.
Yeah, the Mundy car in 17th spot, Roken car in 18th. The Dean entry, Dean Pine-Smith, rounding out your top 20.
O'Donnell in the VJ Angelo car, sitting back there in 25th spot. Then the Class E car, the Warren Luff and Ian Luff father and son combination starting to struggle with some problems too.
When we start looking at those that aren't out there, the Phillip car in 36th spot at the moment in D-Class. Hughes, Al Gardry, of course, retired last night after coming together out on the circuit.
12 retirements so far in this field of 45 cars.
Let's take a look at some of the race stats. 484 laps covered so far, Craig.
3,007 kilometres, 12 safety car periods, 20 lead changes between the two Monaros, 33 cars still running, 12 retirements so far, and the fastest lap, surprise, surprise, the Mosler with Martin Short behind the wheel at 2:15.1, and joining us in commentary is co-driver Patrick Pearce. Patrick, you must absolutely be loving your first time here at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's what a place. I mean, I've been around it a couple of times on the PlayStation, and it does not prepare you at all for this. My first lap, I almost scared myself about 20 times. I mean, it was just amazing.
And you've had most of the running in the wet, I think. Every time you've been in the car, the heavens have opened.
Yeah, within a lap of me getting in the car on both my first two stints, it absolutely chucked me down. Yeah. It makes it twice as hard as I'd only had a couple of laps in the wet before I went out my stint, so it made me very nervous.
And before this, you'd only had, I think, one race at Donington in the dark in the Mosler, so there was not only getting used to the weather conditions and the circuit, but the car and racing at night. It's been a hell of a learning curve.
Yeah, it's been a pretty steep learning curve, but I've enjoyed every minute. My last stint I just did, I finally got some dry running in the car.
The boss has just walked in the room to check up on too, Patrick. You might want to throw you in the Mosler for the last stint. Who knows? But
I don't know if it rains. You might do.
Yeah, you can see the clouds coming. That's what it is.
They say that Bathurst is rated as one of the the third best road circuits in the world. I mean, would you agree with that?
Definitely. I mean, I've been lucky enough to drive around a couple of the good tracks in Europe. Spa's probably been my favourite before that, but this is a real tough circuit.
The Mosler now turning its way through Falcon Elbow, the Lamborghini up behind, and that's Mosler MT900R in 5th place. Runner-up last year, of course, but the competition even tougher this season.
Lamborghini of Will Power's running there inside the... In fact, not Will Power. Simonson behind the wheel of car 20, running inside the top 9. Gee, we expected a great performance from this car, chasing down the Mosler now. But so many tyre failures. They ripped off a brake line with the first tyre failure. So at least it's good to see them still circulating.
Yeah, 7 punctures, I think, the Lamborghini has had over the course of the race so far. It's been in and out of the pit lane a heck of a lot. When it's gone very well. And this morning we were treated to a great drive by Simonson as he mixed it with the Monaros. And coming now down towards VIP Pet Foods corner, hustling on behind the Mosler.
Great effort for the Falcon Tyres Porsche, down to the pits and Grant.
Well, I don't think any other driver has done more miles than you today, Paul Morris, because you have just about maxed out your time within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. They wanted to leave me in the car because I was doing pretty good times. And now Fitzy's in it for the run home, and we've got a lap over the other car now, so third's looking good.
So let's clarify it. You can only do 9 hours. A maximum one driver can only do more than, or can't do any more than 9 hours.
Yeah, it's 9 hours and 3 hours continuous, and you have to have an hour rest in between stints. So we've planned it pretty right, I think.
Thankfully, you're a fit guy.
Yeah, well, I am. The Porsche's really nice to drive. It's not hard on the driver. You can just do the times all day, so it's good.
The Alsen Porsche's pushing you. Can you hold them off?
Yeah, they had a go at ascent, and then I stuck my head down and got in front of the Monaros, and I managed to pick up a lap on them. So he had a bit of a go, and I had a bit of a go back at him. It was a bit of good fun.
It's Germany versus Australia for third place. Over to you, Andrew.
There may be a chink in the armour. The 427 car, we understand, has a problem with the rear diff. apparently it's overheating a bit. They have a big discussion going on at the moment, deciding whether maybe try and fit a cooler onto that diff. That will take a long time. So it isn't all over yet, but I hope to speak to Gary Rogers. He's just gone back into conference in the back of the garage, but let's see what happens with this concern in the 47 pit.
Yes, that'll be interesting. 0.6 of a second between Stephen Richards in 4.27, Peter Brock in 0.5.
Although that time through Richards' lap quicker than Brock, would you believe? So the question mark remains, doesn't it?
A car 6 in the pits now.
Uwe Altzen, Jürgen Altzen, along with Michael Bartels and Arno Clausen, the drivers of that car, and it has been an excellent run in the wet conditions particularly. Uwe Altzen has been a bit of a hero this weekend.
Did some tremendous times in the wet, there's no doubt about it. This was a gun car that came behind or from behind in Class B, and for sale sign after this weekend. Only used for 24 hours, one weekend in November. Good value, folks, but some inspiring driving from this team, particularly in the wet.
Yeah.
They've had a race-long battle with the VIP Pet Foods Porsche of Tony Quinn, Marcus Marshall, Grant Denyer and Clark Quinn, and they had a tremendous job too. They're still sitting second in class. They had some fuel problems with the car during the night, which allowed the Altzen car to get ahead. Look at this, the Just Car Insurance Monaro, Stephen Richards, Peter Brock within 0.4 of a second.
But if that diff problem can happen to one Monaro, it could happen to the other, you never know. So let's wait and see what happens for 0.5. I'm sure they're studying the data as well and keeping everything crossed that there are no problems for the Peter Brock car.
Not peeling off into pit lane this lap, so one more lap. Looking at the times though, 2:20.19. I mean, I thought when you had a hot dip, you actually pulled your lap times back a little bit, but no sign of that.
Yeah, it's just gone quicker again by under a tenth from Peter Brock, Stephen Richards across the line. Now we're getting a report that number 6, which is the Uwe Altzen, Jürgen Altzen, Arno Clausen, Michael Bartels Porsche, is being black flagged for speeding in the pit lane. He's going to have to come and serve a penalty, and I think it's Uwe Altzen at the wheel. Now, Uwe is a hard charger, that's for sure, and certainly last year, one or two teams frequently falling foul of the pit lane speed limit, and it's happening again. Of course, now with people tiring and getting a bit sloppy and losing concentration, all these little errors can start to creep into the whole complex of the race.
Winding down to the last 90 minutes of this race, just having a look at the laps per hour comparison this year against last year, 2002, we averaged 21.6 laps per hour. On track now in 2003, this race, to do 21.8 laps per hour. Now, when you consider the number of really lengthy safety car periods we've had under those horrific wet conditions, it's quite amazing that actually we're still looking to be at this stage ahead of last year's target time of 532 laps.
But the whole pace of the race much more aggressive this year because the level of competition to the Monaros has been more acute, and they've all had to up their game this year. Although interestingly, despite Martin Short's modest statement that he's the king of the mountain, his fastest lap not as good as last year's fastest lap set by Garth Tander, which was in the 2:14s, 2:14.3 set last year.
Ford XR6 Turbo. This is currently being driven by Chris Stillwell in the production car class for cars under $80,000. Stillwell, of course, a great name in Australian motor racing. Bib Stillwell, who has had a long history in very successful open-wheeler racing before he passed on. This car, a brand new car to the Australian Production Car Championship, debuted at Phillip Island earlier this year, crewed by John McElroy and the team out of Southern Rural Ford dealers. Let's have a listen to it as it rocks and rolls across the top of the mountain. Whoa, there you are, 05 in the pits. The Just Car Insurance car of Peter Brock is in the pits. Now, is this a schedule change? One would assume so. Brock getting out of the car. Murphy's getting in, so Greg Murphy, I spoke to 30 minutes or so ago, wasn't sure whether he'd do this stint. Andrew.
Yeah, well, they just have jacked the car up and they're just looking behind, underneath out the depot. It doesn't seem to be a problem there. There's quite a large dent in the side of this car, the 05 car. Peter Brock just walking away from the machine now, and maybe they're concerned about the diff of this car. The fuel is still going in. Brocky is back in the pits, and then we expect, and it's off the jacks and it's going away. And I'm going to try and dive in now. I'm going to try and dive in and see if I can get Peter Brock very quickly. And Brock is going straight back to the back of the garage to report to Gary exactly what the situation with his car is. And I'll just see if I can grab a very quick word. I'm not sure if the camera can come with me. And I don't want to break into this conversation just at the second. And Brocky, a bit of concern on his face. And why don't you come back to me in just a second when Brock's got his helmet off?
Well, big moment for Peter Brock. Will this year be number 10 for him? The Monaro debuted here back in 1968. In 327 cubic inch form. It again did so well in 1969 when Brock debuted here, and 1984 another Holden 1-2. fact, a dealer T1-2 for Peter Brock. And how would Brocky be feeling now, getting down to the last 90 minutes of this race? He hung up his helmet back in 1997. We thought we'd seen the end of Peter Brock, but the fire in the belly continued. The 24-hour race was the one that said, I'm going to have a crack at that. That could well be number 10.
I just wonder whether he's going to get back in for the last 20 minutes or so. I can't believe that the race will finish with anybody other than Peter Brock driving 05 across the line.
Isn't it amazing the passion that Peter Brock has taken into this race? You know, he's really attacked this. From the start yesterday when he got out in front, we saw those shots from inside the Monaro, and the look in Peter Brock's eyes was just wild. He really wanted to get out there, and he really wanted to make a statement that he was here to race. And at 58 years of age, he's the master, isn't he? Simple as that.
Great shots from the Just Car Insurance on-board telemetry, and you can see with Murph behind the wheel. They're not stressing the car at all. It's not getting over 5,000 RPM. They can rev to about 5.7, 5.8 through the Hollinger 6-speed sequential gearbox, back to second gear, down through the dipper, 90 Ks, 100 Ks. We'll see what the speed is on the main straight for you. And a glorious sound, just an absolute superb sound from this 427 7-litre Chev-based engine. Here at Mount Panorama, just under 270 Ks as he brakes to come through the Caltex Havilland Chase.
Sets the car up, turns left, turns right, back on the power up towards the completion of the lap. This car 11 laps ahead of its nearest challenger and still chasing the 427 car, so they don't have to stress it too much. And of course now the team needing to be sure that they don't have a diff problem like there is this question mark over 427, the race leading Monaro.
Absolutely, so it's Monaro, then Porsche, then the Mosler. As we get into 22 hours, 40 minutes and 35 seconds of this 24-hour endurance race presented by Formula Green at Eagle Boys Pizza here from Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Tommy Erdos joining us in the commentary. Hasn't been the best weekends for you, Tommy?
Well, it hasn't, but it's been great to just come here and experience this fantastic circuit. I mean, I heard you earlier saying that this is probably the third, probably best road circuit in the world. And
do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I disagree. I think it's got to be close to the top. I have to say, I'm in love with this circuit. It's fantastic.
What makes it so special?
Well, I mean, a circuit is just a combination of corners and straights, isn't it? It's just the whole place, really. It has everything that a driver really wants to experience. The chase, not just the right-hander of the chase, but having to slow it down to get through the left and right after that. You know, the mountain, the steepness of the mountain as you go down, it's just a phenomenal place.
And in terms of 24-hour races, I mean, they do say that this potentially is the toughest of all because you don't get a rest. The track is of such a demanding nature that you actually don't, like Le Mans or somewhere like that, actually get time in the car to rest between corners.
Absolutely. Le Mans, you have long straights. I mean, 4 times at Le Mans that you're going over 180, 190 miles per hour, which sounds like high speeds, which it is, but it also gives you the time to rest, as you say. Here you have walls around you all the time, well, mostly all the time. You've got a lot of differential in speed with the different classes, and that's something that you need to be focused all the time. So yeah, it's a real test for 24 hours.
One of the things you have here as well is the TAFE crew that can help rebuild the car, and they I think had your Porsche for something like 6.5 hours in the night. Mike Newton crashed it in the rain, and it was a pretty mangled car.
Absolutely, it's incredible what they do over there. It's I have to say, I mean, Mike had an unfortunate incident. It was when the rain was very, very heavy. He went out and at the top of the mountain, he just literally aquaplaned. And he really didn't have a chance. He was just a passenger in the car, so I feel for him. But yeah, the guys at TAFE did an incredible job, and thanks to them, we're out there again.
Now, you've been in enough long-distance races like this to understand what the drivers are going through that are out there now. With an hour and 17 minutes to go, what's going through your mind?
Well, I mean, it very much depends what your strategy is and where you are on the grid. But you know, you're trying to get it to the end and try not to make a mistake. I just say at this time of the race, your concentration is very important.
Lap 498, and this is the class leader in the production car class for cars under $80,000. The Roken car, John Roken behind the wheel at the moment of the Colin Osborne-owned car. They've had a pretty much trouble-free run in the Toyota Celica and doing a tremendous job. The little Honda S2000 is up to second with Charlie Kovacs behind the wheel at the moment.
And there is Tommy's Porsche charging past down towards the Caltex Chase. This, you're saying, a pretty daunting part of the circuit.
Very much so. It's again, you're coming up to 200 well, in our case about 260 k's, but yeah, very challenging. Again, going through the right hander there in the chase, very, very fast, and slowing it down through the left and right. That's Mike Newton there in the car. Nice to see him out after the disappointment during the night. Doing a great job and bringing the car to the end for us.
So Steve Williams, 41 years of age, mechanic from Sydney, is doing a tremendous job in the Chroma exhaust car. As you said, Graham Moore, a co-driver of this car. Terry Bosanjak, who's won a 3-hour GTP race here before, has also done a great stint in this car. Future Tourer specification we saw in Australia motor racing a couple of years ago. You don't see too many of these cars around now, but primarily a 400 horsepower based 5-litre engine. Oh, we've got a wheel rolling down through the Donut King cutting. It's a green one. What's it off?
It's a Certec Porsche I offer you, because I think the Kawasaki car was through.
Pretty narrow for a Certec Porsche. A Certec bicycle maybe.
Ah,
no.
that's what it is. It's the remains of a Honda.
Wow, that's the Charlie Kovacs behind the wheel. That'll get the handlebars flapping. He's gone in hard into Donut King and crunched the right-hand corner of the Ross Palmer Motorsport Honda S2000 quite hard.
Safety car, and there is the wheel, making its own way off the track, just out of the way of the Monaro and the Mosler.
Well, great example of a control tyre.
Absolutely.
Just sitting there on the edge of the track, going nowhere.
But he proves the point, anything can happen. We've got, what, an hour and 10 minutes to go, and there you have yet another badly damaged car. I tell you, at this rate, it's going to be a Holden Monaro 1, 2, 3, isn't it? Because the safety car will be out for a long enough time.
It was out for so long last night, it almost ran out of fuel. At one stage, they were talking about stopping the entire field just to fill up the safety car. But no bad luck. Charlie Kovacs, the Adelaide-based express delivery man who normally races a V8 Brute, sitting in the car at the moment. And, gee, I tell you what, it's gone in quite hard too.
Now is the answer. Now they're bringing the Monaro in. Well, how long is this going to take? The race leader's already gone over to the Brock car, the 05 car, being driven at the moment by Greg Murphy, and there's a driver change going on with 427 as well.
Yes, now what are they actually going to do to the car? Will it be a diff cooler change to the rear end? Will they try and hotwire the pump to the battery, which has been suggested? They've got a whole, as you saw earlier, rear axle assembly on standby to go into the car, but a critical moment for the car that has led the majority of this 24-hour endurance race.
Well, it's been like a tank all weekend. Absolutely nothing's gone wrong with it, and at the critical moment they find the car sitting there in pit lane. Now the good news is that they are a couple of laps up on their nearest competition, so if they can get the car back out, they're still looking good for a 1-2.
Got diff oil on standby there, and plenty of activity around the rear end, also cleaning out the front end of the car as well. So let's go down to the pits, and again, Andrew Marriott right on the spot.
Yes, indeed, and there are two mechanics working under the car. They have some oil ready to pump into the diff. They are working on it. Some just being pushed out of the way by a fire marshal here. I wasn't going to get in the way, it isn't going to catch fire, but they are working on this car at the moment. Now, I want you to contemplate this right now. If they do this very quickly, this car will not have to make another pit stop. It can go the rest of the way. The Brock car, I think, will have to make a splash and a dash. No. So that could be the whole crux of the matter. Work still going on, this diff here, and obviously high drama down here at Holden. It's just run like clockwork for 23 hours, and now all of a sudden this happens. This pit stop still continuing, guys. Back to you in the booth, and I'll try and come back with some update in just a couple of moments.
Well, thanks, Andrew, but the guy that really should know, above all, whether the 05 is going to make one more stop is the man that has driven it so well today himself and for the last almost 24 hours, Peter Brock. Brocky, what's the real story?
Oh, the real story is I just came in about 10 minutes ago and handed over to Greg Murphy, and we don't have to make another stop. No, we've got excellent fuel economy, and we just cruise to the flag, yeah.
What does this do now? Obviously puts your car back in the lead. How are you feeling at the moment? Is this year for Brocky's perfect 10?
Well, who knows? I mean, one should never count one's chickens before they are hatched. That's because we know that in motor racing you can turn around and get bitten very, very easily indeed. But the car is running spot on. We were aware that there was some sort of diff problem here, so consequently we sort of dropped the speeds back, although I didn't need to drop mine back, if you know what I mean. Mine was, I just drove around because we were, well, not wanting to push this car too hard. We'd love to get a 1-2. But our car can do the job, there's no doubt about that. And with Greg Murphy behind the wheel, is a fine driver. Who knows?
What was the first thought that popped into your head when you woke up this morning?
Oh, what's that noise there? Oh, that's that Porsche. I can't believe the volume of sound. I could hear it above everything else. Oh, that's right. Bathurst, yeah, 24 hours. Hey, wake up.
Time to get back to work. But really, you've got to pay compliment to Gary Rogers. I mean, you guys have really come here totally on top of the game this weekend, haven't you?
Yep, and I think it pays to be, hometown advantage. I guess you've got all your equipment there and your people who understand the cars. But it's been a first-class effort. Get 2 cars to do a job like this anywhere in the world. I mean, you look at sometimes I've seen guys like Schnitzer and those fellas, or Yost, at Le Mans, and they do a fabulous job. This is sort of a similar deal. That everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, and they've done it impeccably.
Andrew, what have you got for us?
We've got Stephen Richards just climbed out of the car. Stephen, have you just lost the race?
Oh, I don't know about that. We're still on the lead lap, so you're never out of it. It's still an hour to go. It's been a pretty comfortable race for Team Monaro, but we just had a little problem then. We had to make a driver change anyway for fuel, so guys changed the diff pump while we're at it.
Your emotions must be running so high now.
Oh yeah, they are, but we're still in a good position. I mean, the guys, the whole thing over the 24 hours, the 23 hours so far has gone unbelievably smoothly. It's a credit to the team. I mean, to have 2 cars running 1-2 all day within 15 seconds of one another is an absolutely amazing achievement. So,
just listening to Brocky there, he says the car's just so easy to drive.
It is. The pace that we've picked, it's just absolutely just cruising along. Like you're not having to stretch it at all, and that's what it's all about, this 24-hour racing.
Thanks, Stephen. Now it's out of his hands. He just has to stand here and wait.
There is the race leader now coming through, Brocky's 05. And Brocky going now into effectively the last just over 50 minutes of this race. I guess the word from Gary Rogers Motorsport is maintain a very, very conservative lap time and stay out of trouble.
I think that's about it, and Murph knows that he's going to drive according to the feel of what the car has on offer. So he'll be one of those guys that says, we'll get it home, Brocky, don't worry.
Green flag wave then. We're back under racing conditions. The 2 Monaros with an 11-lap advantage over the 54 Porsche. You can see at the back of the shot there the Peter Fitzgerald car, and Greg Murphy now down towards Shell Corner. Now what we need to see is the gap between the 2 Monaros. It was 22.7 seconds as they go across the start and finish line, and that gap is what we need to monitor now and see whether Tander can do anything about Murphy.
Yeah, a lot of traffic as you can see as they stream up Mountain Straight now. We just saw the Just Car Insurance car 427 coming through Shell Corner now on its way up the mountain.
Yeah, it was the 22 seconds before the 427 car crossed the line. Under racing conditions, after the safety car, it's down to 12. So 12 seconds is all that separates the 2 leading cars on lap 505 of the Bathurst 24 hours.
18 cars between the 2 Monaros, and you can see now that Tander coming up right behind the Lamborghini, currently in the hands of Peter Hackett, as they climb up through Konica Minolta.
And this, Peter, is like you were saying about the traffic being a real key to this race. As far now as Tander is concerned, it's going to be like a video game. All these cars around him, he's got to get past.
Well, Tander's got to be very careful here because you can tag a car real easy, and they don't necessarily have much of an idea you are there. You've just got to... But the Monaro is excellent for this job because the torque it has allows you to accelerate instantly, even though you might be balked momentarily. But as you can see, Garth's sitting back there. He'd be chomping away saying, oh no, look at he's probably doing about 80k at the moment.
Mate, the difference between this particular car, the Monaro, and a V8 supercar?
Well, this car has better grip, it has wider tyres, it has better aerodynamics because the Monaro has a different body profile and different size rear wing. 7-litre engine which doesn't rev as high. So actually the economy on this is fabulous because we use part throttle and low revs. And it's got a sequential gearbox. And the sequential gearbox, it's the same as the supercar gearbox. But, of course, you don't miss gears. We've run the whole race now, haven't missed a gear. We're heroes.
Well, Greg Murphy behind the wheel of 05. Tander, will he try and run him down? The gap now down to 12 seconds on board with Peter Hackett now in the Mark Coffey Racing Lamborghini Diablo GTR, a car we thought could have been a potential for pole position, but unfortunately the wet conditions in qualifying on Friday really put paid to that, Mark.
Yeah, they were very late in entering this race too, and maybe didn't quite get the preparation that they wanted. They have had 7 punctures, unbelievable, in this race so far. One of the first ones late yesterday ruptured a brake line, and that caused them a big delay. So the Lamborghini hasn't had the ideal run, but they have been very, very quick when they've got going out on the track. And Paul Stokel can take a lot of the credit for that. He's driven it beautifully too.
Line continues to roar on the mountain, as you can see. It's Murphy from Tander. The gap 18.2 seconds at the moment. Peter Fitzgerald in the Falcon Tyres Porsche, still in the top three from Olsen. Pierce in the Mosler. Tony Quinn, the VIP Pet Foods car, second in class. Sixth outright from Peter Floyd.
In ninth place, Peter Hackett in the Lamborghini. Rick Bates now 10th. And just looking at the gap between the two leading Monaros, it was 22.2 seconds. Then it was 18.2. And now it is 14.4. Make no mistake about this. Tander is going after Murph.
Class E leader Colin Osborne. Then Craig Dean. Berwick Linton dropping back through the timing chart. Kovac's probably out after that crash. McElroy doing well too in the BA Turbo from Charter. BJ Angelo, Neil, Luff, Palmer. Tremendous class race here at Mount Panorama. 4 different classes that make up this year's Bathurst 24-hour endurance races, and a number of high-profile failures too. The Ferrari 360 GT of David Brabhams and Montermini's out with a blown engine. The BMW M3 GDR of John Bowers out after a crash. We'll talk about that in a moment, Peter. The Morgan, of course, out with a BMW blown engine, unfortunately. Now, apparently they can change the engine in the Morgan, but it takes some 12 hours. And being a car made of aluminium and wood, you need 3 mechanics and 2 carpenters to do the job.
45 minutes to go in this year's Bathurst 24-hour race. And the weather's been kind. We've seen it all here. We've had thunderstorms and lightning. At the moment, we have beautiful sunshine soaking Mount Panorama for these final 45 minutes. And as Brocky's told us already, anything could happen. This is far from a foregone conclusion. Even within the 2 Monaros up front, they're still sorting it out.
Tony Quinn and the VIP Pet Food Sunrise 7 Porsche. Gee, these guys have had a great run too. And one small problem during the night where they had a fuel filter problem. When Grant Denyer was behind the wheel, they couldn't get the car to rev over 6,500 RPM. They brought it in, filled it with fuel, fixed the problem for a while. Eventually came in, changed the whole fuel tank. Dropped from first to second in the class, but now continue to look at the lap times. I mean, Quinny's doing his 2:23s, and they've had a tremendous run.
They got away pretty lightly, though, from that scare early on in the race. It was this Porsche, remember, that clashed with Robert Brooks' BMW, put the BMW in the wall and out of the race. That car escaped pretty much damage-free and has gone well ever since, apart from, as you say, that one mechanical drama in the night.
Little brush during the wall, or during, I should say, the night when the downpour came, and Tony on slicks at about 30 kilometres per hour crunched the wall, folded in the right-hand rear guard over the tyre. They brought it in, pulled it out, and no further damage. But I guess, Peter Brock, the changing conditions this weekend, I mean, we always know Mount Panorama throws up, you know, so much over the years, but, you know, so many different changing weather conditions from, as Tony Quinn waves to the camera, from, you know, greasy tracks, dry tracks, absolute torrential downpour.
Mark Brett just saying it's been very kind to us. It's been kind to everyone. It's been kind to the farmers. It's been kind, hasn't it? We've had a bit of everything. So it's it has been difficult. Do you know what? I haven't jagged, except for warm-up on Saturday morning, which I did, and the Monaro was sensational in the wet, I can tell you. I haven't jagged for a wet lap in the race. Murph's got just about the whole lot. He said, I know what you're doing, Brock, but this is not good.
Glenn Hastings behind the wheel of car 60. This is the Wayne Boatwright Subaru. It's currently running 3rd in its class. Glenn Hastings doing a great job too. These guys have had a fairly trouble-free run. Scotty Anderson has prepared a car. They had actually quite a significant pit fire overnight with this car when the car blew a turbo, and they had foam everywhere, had to replace the turbo, but they've managed to climb back through the field and finish at least what looks like a podium finish. And I guess that's one of the great things about a 24-hour race, Brocky. Most cars have some sort of problem. It's the size of the problem that at the end of the day makes the difference.
The words you use for 24-hour racing, as you would for long-distance rallying, etc., you know, the desert-type stuff, is commitment. Never give in. Never, ever give in. Have a go at it. Get it going again. You never know what's around the corner. And the great thing about 24-hour racing, of course, is people actually arrive there thinking the biggest competitor I've got is ourselves getting this car around that track for 24 hours. I start forgetting about the opposition after a while.
14th outright and top 3 in their class for this car, the Wayne Boatwright Subaru WRX STI.
Yeah, let's take a look at the race score. Murphy leading the way over Tander, Fitzgerald. The Olsen machine in 4th spot. Pierce, Tony Quinn, Floyd and Power rounds out the 8. The Formula Green Bathurst 24-hour, and we are ticking it down, David Addison.
We're on lap 511 now. The gap between Murphy and Tander, 1 and 2, is 9.9 seconds. And we've been watching this gap coming down from 22 seconds to 18 to 14, 13, 10, and now 9.9 seconds separating the top 2 cars. And we have got something like now 37 minutes of racing in 24 hours. That's all, 37 more minutes of the race remain. And the way that Garth Tander is going, he's going to catch Greg Murphy. Whether he passes him or not, maybe out of his hands.
Well, 9.9 tenths of a second the gap now between Murphy in 05, Tander in 4.27. Car 54, where are you? We're third place, Peter Fitzgerald in the Falcon Tyres Porsche. Ian Palmer going around now in one of the Group B cars. This is a Ferrari 360 Challenge. Unique Cars Ferrari 360 Challenge, owned by Rod Wilson here in Australia. We've had a pretty trouble-free run mechanically, but they actually crunched the wall in the middle of the night and spent 4 hours in the NRMA Smash Repair pit bay repairing the car.
But it's this attitude, isn't it, to just get the car to the finish, because as others have problems, you can always gain a place or two here and there, and the car still soldiering on, and if it's there at the finish, that in itself is a great result.
360 Challenge has a 3.6 litre V8 engine, got the 6-speed paddle shift Formula 1 style gear shift, rear-wheel drive, of course, turns out about 400 horsepower, weighs in at 1,180 kilos, priced at about $380,000. The really different specs between this and the Ferrari F360 GT that we saw David Brabham and Montermini driving was the fact that it's a 360 Challenge taken to Michelotto, kind of the HSV of Ferrari if you like. They had a wider front track, a different aero kit, different cams, similar sort of horsepower, but the car about 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster in lap times, primarily due to the bigger brakes, the wider track and the aerodynamics of the car.
And the Moser in fifth place. The car of Martin Short.
Martin Short behind the wheel now too as he heads over Skyline. Look at this sensational MT900R. What a gorgeous looking car. 5.7 litre Corvette Chev based engine. A Hewland type transaxle gearbox. A car that gave this team their British GT Championship this year.
Yeah, Martin didn't do every race. He was off doing the odd FIA GT round. It was Tom Herridge that took the title, and Roll Centre Racing, Martin Short's team, scooped the honours. And there is the man at work, the man with the skin-coloured wig, the bald head of Martin Short, inside the crash helmet down. Conrod straight he goes.
I mean, fair to say, when this car came out last year, no one had ever heard of a Moser.
That's right.
But, certainly the performances at Bathurst last year, this year, and of course what he's done in the British GT Championship must certainly help the brand.
That's right, but it's not just him. There's Balf Motorsport that has won more races, in fact, than Roll Centre in the British GT Championship this year, and the cars have now started going to races in Belgium and in Spain as well. And Warren Moser is here this weekend to watch Martin Short set the fastest lap of the race, and I don't think he's just come for the sunshine. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we didn't have a couple of Moslers on a Nations Cup grid next year. A couple of right-hand drive models maybe.
Well, wouldn't that be spectacular? A lot of talk about it at the moment, potentially with some Moslers in Nations Cup next year. And quite a bit of damage, of course, as you can see around the front end of the car. I think mainly caused by, was that the head of school spin during the night?
I don't think she hit anything. I think it was other skirmishes and just the old bump into the back of slower cars trying to wriggle through the traffic. Nothing too serious, but the car with no spare bodywork has to be keeping patched up.
Team Kawasaki, Car 8, Peter Floyd, who normally we see behind the wheel of a HSV GTS in GT Performance, has also worked his way now, after a fairly slow start to this race, inside the top 7.
That's right, yes. The start of the race was when they had smoke belching out of the back and then a pit lane speeding infringement. They've had 1 or 2 other scares during the course of the race, but 7th place now, the Peter Floyd car. It's in no man's land. It's 4 laps adrift of the one ahead, and it's 5 laps up on the car behind. So really now this is a team that has to hope for problems for others and just a good run to the finish.
Oh, look at the gap now between first and second, folks. It's down to 1.46 tenths of a second. Greg Murphy in 05 continues to lead, but Garth Tander has carved an enormous amount of time off him in car 427.
That's right, the two Monaros getting closer, and there they are. Now, Tander is catching. That's one part of the story. What about the passing?
Yes, I would imagine there'll be a fairly heated exchange in pit lane between Holden executives at the moment about what's the correct protocol coming up towards the end of this race. Which is going to give us more value? Rocky's perfect 10 or a Garth Tander running down 05 across the line?
You can imagine somebody on the radio saying, now then, Garth, you happy in your work? You'd like this job next year, would you?
I mean, how often in 24-hour races do you see cars like this first and second on the same lap?
Very rarely. I mean, Bentley dominated Le Mans this year, and really that was won and lost in the pits because the David Brabham car just had slightly more time spent in the pit lane, and that's why it ultimately lost the race. These two Monaros have just gone like clockwork for 24 hours now, virtually, and it is such a credit to the Gary Rogers team. I know you can say that they've got all this Bathurst experience and the drivers are so successful, but to actually achieve the result for 1-2 is going to be exceptional. And in the pit lane is Grant Denyer.
Well, Gary, at the moment you have 2 very hot-headed young drivers who love to race. It's quite an unusual predicament for you to have after a 24-hour race, 2 cars so close together that want to win.
Well, I think clearly you've got 2 great drivers and 2 great cars.
And I mean, it's fortunate for the whole team that the cars are still able to race like that at this point after 24 hours. I think it shows how good the Holden product is. But, you know, we want them to race, but we want it to be clean. We definitely need a finish. And, you know, it's a very difficult situation. But, you know, as I say, we've just got to do our very best under the circumstances.
Is this about Holden getting one back on Ford after that 77 finish with Moffat and Bond?
Look, I'm not into formations, to be quite frank. It's unfortunate in some ways that the race should finish like this, but as I said, the cars are good enough, the drivers, and when I say the drivers, I mean all the drivers in both cars. I mean, clearly they've done an amazing job when you consider the conditions, and it's great to see a finish like this so long as everybody's sensible about it.
What a remarkable piece of machinery the Monaro is. Last year you had problems, this year not really any. A bit of a diff temperature problem, but that was really about it, so it's been quite a remarkable run.
Yeah, I mean, the car's been competitive all year. We were nobbled with the regs, but we copped that sweet and moved on. And clearly this circuit suits the car. You know, it's a big lumbering, you know, friendly car to drive. And the long straight that pulls up the hill, you know, can meander its way around the corners in a very friendly manner. And if you ever think of buying a car, I'd suggest you go and get one right now.
I think with this international war that's going on, we might need to rename it the Flying Kangaroo.
Well, you'd like to think we might do a lot of things, but at the moment, my biggest concern is getting through the next 14 odd minutes.
We look forward to the finish, mate, and see what happens.
Thanks very much.
Come on, Gary, you a racer yourself. Let them race. You got a 12-lap advantage. Come on, let them get out there. Show us how good the car really is.
If I go back home and say to people that Holden had a 1-2 and their cars were described by the team boss as lumbering and meandering their way around, nobody will believe me. These cars have crushed the opposition. You've got two star drivers going head-to-head in the last few minutes of the Bathurst 24 hours.
And as you can see, really been hard done by the regulations too.
Oh, my heart bleeds. I don't know how Gary Rogers can stop crying about this. He must battle through every day. So hard done by.
He doesn't sleep. And with a straight face, he says this.
Well, at least you built two great cars, Gary, but please let them race to the finish. That's what the fans want to see. I mean, everybody would love to see Peter Brock certainly take his 10th Bathurst win, but come on, guys, let's make it a true sprint.
Yeah, make it a win, not a gift. That's the car that's third, Peter Fitzgerald's Porsche. And this has been the best of the rest, hasn't it, really? It again is in no man's land. It ain't going to get caught by anything, but it just cannot catch the two Monaros.
No, it's running in the same class in terms of the outright class, but it truly really isn't an outright car. It technically is a Carrera Cup car, which has been up-spec'd for this weekend alone. All they're allowed to change effectively was the exhaust system on the car. If you're running Carrera Cup spec, you have to run a Michelin tyre. They're running Falcon tyres. If you're running Carrera Cup spec here in Australia, you have to run controls, struts and springs. They've been allowed to soften the car up for this event, so it's given it probably about 10 or 12 more horsepower with the exhaust system, made the car probably a lot easier to drive, softening it up for the weekend, and they've just had a superb performance to be motoring around there still in third place.
And this is the team that's leading Class B now. Uwe Altzen, Jürgen Altzen, who was here last year, Arno Clausen, an ex-Formula 1 racer, briefly, Michael Bartels, and the car coming now down through the S's and into the VB Dipper. And Uwe Altzen, who has done very little racing this year, having walked away, turning his back on DTM, where he used to be a factory Mercedes driver, started really his international career in the Porsche Super Cup, so it's great to have him in one of these cars. And the Class B car turning now through the Falcon Elbow. Fourth it is.
Martin Short again behind the wheel of this sensational Mosley MT900R. And the car superb down here, the Victoria Vetta S's. With a glorious 5.7 litre Corvette-based Chevy winding up through the gears now.
Martin Short, then the man with the fastest lap of the race to his credit so far. I just wonder what Greg Murphy can do before the end of the race here.
Yeah, come on, Gary. Tell the boys. Brocky used to do it years ago. Always used to set the fastest lap on the last lap to prove to everybody there was nothing wrong with the car after 1,000 Ks. Come on, Gary. It's about time that you showed us how good the car really is. The Gary Rogers Motorsport Radio, David Addison. We don't know what it all means, but there's some link to the 7 minutes.
7 minutes, but please, when this happens, can you understand the work and energy and effort that all your workers have put into this? I expect a fair go for everybody, but it is vital for both of you to finish.
Well, there you are. Clear directions from Gary Rogers.
At 7 minutes, something is going to happen. And remember, the team, said Gary Rogers, you've got to finish.
This is fantastic stuff, folks. So 7 minutes. We're down to the last 10 minutes of the race now. So 3 more minutes. There is clearly some team instruction being given to both Murphy and Tander at the last 7 minute mark of this race.
What do you think it is?
I reckon that they've got up until 7 minutes to fight, and the last 7 minutes is hold station. That's my guess.
And when you look at the lap times, I mean, they're down to 2:17.8, 2:17.5. Tander continually eating and edging away and closing up on the back end of Murphy.
I mean, Tander's coming back at him now. He's reeling him in again. I'll grant you that Murph's held up in the traffic, but I think that this is the part where they can still race, and after that, they've got to hold station.
I think you may well be right. So, both thinking with cool heads, reading the traffic well, both desperately wanting to make it 2 out of 2 for Garth Tander. And of course, with Greg Murphy winning the Bob Jane T-Mart's Bathurst 1000 only a few weeks ago, this would make a 4th Bathurst win overall for Perth. So pretty big stakes on the line at the moment.
Isn't that a unique double too, to take the 1000 and the 24-hour in the 1 year?
Absolutely. Grant Denyer.
Just talking to Leanne Ferrier, Garth Tander's girlfriend, and as far as she's concerned, Garth is not one to obey the rules of a team, especially at this point of the race. She said he's a racer first and foremost, and she says as far as she's concerned, it is on. There is no doubt that Garth is going to challenge.
It would be funny if Garth Tander had been signed by Ford for next year and Gary Rogers didn't know. Murphy with 0.3 of a second over Garth Tander.
Please give each other a fair go. Thank you.
Please give each other a fair go.
Sorry, Gary, say that again. It's 7 minutes now, so race for it, but please give each other a fair go. And as I said, respect the work that these people put into it.
Okay, so it's the other way from what I predicted. They've got 7 minutes to go until the end of the race. Now it's the game on. So Tander in second, Murphy in the lead. Is it going to remain that way? Well, you heard Gary Rogers say 7 minutes now. The clock reckons just over 8 minutes, but what's a minute between friends after 24 hours? The two Monaros then nose to tail. The way he's done this does surprise me, I've got to say.
This is dangerous, isn't it?
It is, it's dangerous, but I tell you what, it's fun, folks. Get into it, look at this.
Now, what if the unthinkable, what if the two Monaros took each other out?
Well, I think what Gary Rogers is relying on, clearly by these radio instructions, and folks, we've been listening to this for the last 20 minutes or so, is he's relying on these two drivers to show responsibility, to show caution, give each other a fair go, think of the team, but race. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better end of the 24-hour race.
Wow. Play hard, but play safe.
And, of course, this man could win if they do hit.
Gee.
But I'm quite sure Greg Murphy, who's absolutely on a roll, goes into next weekend's Australian Touring Car Championship, the V8 Supercar Series, with a chance of taking out the title from Marcus Ambrose and Mark Scaife. Hot off some wins at Pukekohe, 2 wins over there. Hot off a Bathurst win. He's really the form man at the moment. Garth Tander's had pretty much a hot and cold year, but has won here at Bathurst before and won here last year in the yellow car he's in now.
I tell you, to get to the last 7 minutes of any 24-hour race and have the two leaders nose to tail from the same team and allowed to fight is something exceptional. And there is a car that is not, I fear, set to make it to the flag. It's 222. Hugh Harrison, Richard Catchlav, Mike Kilpatrick and Damien Johnson's Nissan 200. Now that looks pretty ominous.
Cars dropped a turbo or dropped a valve or something. Gee, I tell you what, this team have changed 4 engines between their 2 cars over the weekend. And again, getting down to the last 6.5 minutes of this race. How heartbreaking is it for the teams? Well, 0.3 of a second, folks. 3 laps to go. Nigel Greenway, our statistician, who stayed up all night to keep the information pumping for us. And the race is on. The Lion roars at Mount Panorama. Murphy and Tander, nose to tail, coming up to Shell Corner now.
And Tander does the best lap of the race at 2:14.4894. Not as quick as last year, but he's the quickest man round the mountain. He's just that Martin Short, who thought he was that quick. But now Garth Tander proves that he is on for a win here. He's the fastest man around the mountain this weekend. He's right up behind Murphy, heading up Mountain Straight, the two marvellous Monaros, nose to tail.
It was fastest by 1/100th of a second in 6.2 kilometres.
And the Lion is out of the cage at the mountain.
So Murphy, second fastest time of the race at 2:14.49. Tander at 2:14.48. Holden have unleashed the young guns. The Lions are at Mount Panorama.
And that traffic is exactly what you don't want. Come on, get out of the way. Do you go left, do you go right? Eventually the back marker makes up his mind. The two Monaros round the outside. There's a white flag being shown as well, which means a very slow vehicle. It was the Nissan that gets out of the way. There's more traffic for Murph. He's got to get his heart in his mouth. Deep breath, another back marker in the way. To the left goes Murph, and Garth Tander here, just following him through. Murphy's doing the hard work.
Ford are watching. You've got to be back here next year in the Ford GT40. This is too good. You've got to be part of this. Murphy continuing to lead Tander. Winding down now, 2.5 laps of this race to go. 24 hours and then nose to tail, same lap speeds, same two young drivers with the ambition to win this race.
And spare a thought for the drivers in the other cars who've been out there with their teams for 23 hours and 50 minutes, just saying, what is going on behind me? I see two big lions stalking me down.
It's lap 5.25 and it's even closer than lap 1, isn't it?
Well, John Alexander, have you ever seen a Davis Cup final like this one?
Oh, this is like 10-all in the 5th set and there's no tiebreakers.
Look at Tander now.
4 minutes to go. 4 minutes to go.
Falls in behind through the Celtics Haviland chase. 4 minutes to go in this race. They'll have 2 laps to go this time around if our stats are right. So it's still Murphy. Tander on a charge. He's got the faster car.
4 minutes to go.
Down they come then to VIP Pet Foods corner. Tander having a look on the outside, trying to unsettle Greg Murphy, trying to pressure him into a mistake. All he needs is for him to thump a curb, run a little bit wide, and that's going to give the advantage to Tander. Nose to tail, they come across the line. 4.27, almost hidden, and now he looks on the inside. No, can't find a way through there.
2.16.8, 2.16.7. Murphy, again, 1/10 of a second slower than Tander that time around. Stationary car at the cutting. The Donut King cutting, you can see. There's a car there right on the racing line.
If that brings out the safety car, that's done it, hasn't it, for Murphy?
Car in the chase.
Up they go. Tander has got one corner to make this stick. He's going to have a look on the inside. He's going to be able to do it. Nose to tail. That, I think, was Tander's last chance with that car in the road. Surely he's going to bring the safety car out.
Hopefully they can roll it back down out of the way. That's probably the best chance we have. But Murphy well and truly had the door shut then on Tander. Tander couldn't get the run. This is where the slow car is, around the outside. So at this stage, now again, more slow traffic. Murphy reads it beautifully, though. Tander goes with him.
I think the slow car is the 888 Willpower Porsche that's come back out of the pits and ground to a halt. Well, there's no indication yet of a safety car. I think everybody in race control's too engrossed in this battle as well to worry about it.
Well, 525 laps, 532 the distance last year. They won't cover the same amount of distance due to the number of safety cars, the horrific conditions. Listen to the crowd roar on Mount Panorama. The Holden battle isn't over yet. 23 hours, 57 minutes, 10 seconds.
Into the last 3 minutes of the race. It could not be closer, could it? Look at this. The two Monaros running absolutely nose to tail, and Murphy under all this pressure. And it's not as if he's not been up all night either. He is a tired man, so is Tander, and the adrenaline now pumping through them as they come onto Conrod Straight once again. Lap 526.
Amazing stuff. Peter Fitzgerald back there, still in third place in the Falcon Tyres Porsche from Olsen. In the German Porsche car 6, the Mosler of Martin Short, 900. What's going to happen when they come down to the Celtics? Haviland chase. Look at Tander. Thinks about a run on the inside. Has the door shut. Is in full attack mode. Another slower car.
He's the number 70 Nash Motorsport Porsche that's going to have to dart out of the way. Greg Murphy will hesitate and just work out which way to go. He goes to the outside and Tander follows him through. They're almost touching now, these two. They're so close. They're going to be side by side. I think coming down towards the last corner. Not quite. Again, Tander unable to get the line. So narrow is the circuit. Up they come now across the start and finish line. How long have we got? We've got less than 2 minutes. It's going to be one more lap.
One more lap, folks. They're on their last lap and the fight is not over yet. The Monaro rules the mountain, but who's going to rule between Murphy and Tander? The big long run now up Mountain Straight. Murphy continues to lead. The red car is sharing with Peter Brock. Will this be Brocky's 10th Bathurst win, or will Garth Tander take it from him? You'll be lynched if you do, I'm sure.
You saw the mechanics looking at the screens then in the Gary Rogers Motorsport Garage. They haven't drawn breath for a quarter of an hour. They are absolutely engrossed in this. Another slower car negotiated, and Murphy there darting up on the inside. I reckon, I'm tempting fate, but I think he might just have done enough on this last lap now, but let's see.
Well, of course, slower traffic may well come into play. Yellow flags, of course, for that stop car of the Donut King cutting. It is the 888 Porsche parked there. More traffic that Greg Murphy and Garth Tander have to weave their way around.
It's going to be Conrod Straight, I think, where it'll all be played out, but here they come again, still tied together, these two.
And you can see by the body language of the car, these guys are not holding back, they're pushing hard.
This is a proper race. Whatever you might think about team orders in motorsport, forget them as far as this is concerned. You heard Gary Rogers taking them off the leash, and aren't we grateful that he did so?
Absolutely. Full credit to Gary Rogers Motorsport and Holden for letting these two boys run it cleanly and fairly right to the end as they come down through Coates Hire. Oh, look at the slow traffic. Peter Boylan's BMW, the class leader in Class D with Rick Bates behind the wheel at the moment. And Murphy on the brakes. Tander still reading the traffic beautifully with him. They wrap up the Tomlinson, Toyota Altezza as well. There goes Murphy through. Tander still there. He's lost absolutely nothing.
But this is where he could make the move. They're onto Conrod Straight for the last time. We've got 13 seconds to go. The checkered flag will be out this time. Slippery surface flag as well. Another variable to add in on the last lap. But Murphy looking a little bit stronger. There's what, 2-3 lengths possibly between the two as they go to the chase for the last time. It's going to be a Monaro 1-2. But which way is it going to go? Is it going to be the 0-5 or the 4-2-7, Craig Daniel?
Well, there we go. Tander's got to make his move now. He's got to play the hand. Murphy's got him covered with 24 hours about to tick over. The first car to cross the line. Once the 24-hour clock has moved through, will take the win. It's Murphy with Tander right behind him against slow traffic, forcing Tander out wide. They come through VIP for the last time. We're looking at Greg Murphy in 05. He takes the win. He gives Peter Brock the perfect 10. Can you believe it?
The Bathurst 24 hours has been bigger, better and Brock. Peter Brock wins that in 0-5 with Greg Murphy, Jason Bright and Todd Kelly.
What a fight, folks. What a fight. A great clean fight between Greg Murphy and Garth Tander right to the end, Grant Boyden. What a race.
You couldn't ask for a better finish. The two Holden side by side, the Holden Monaros, and they're going to do a lap of victory almost, making their way down into pit lane now. Let's go to pit lane. Here's Grant Denyer.
Peter Brock, 10 out of 10. How does it feel?
Fantastic. I tell you what, we were smiled upon by the guys today, because I noticed on that last corner on the last lap there was a yellow flag, and I thought, Tandy, you can have a go, mate. But that was fantastic, yeah.
The heart in the mouth. We look at the traffic that came into play, the stalled car, in the cutting, so much to come into play.
Oh, yes, and I was sitting back there with Jason Bright, and we both agreed that we couldn't have a better man behind the wheel than Greg Murphy. He was going to do it. There's no doubt about that.
Collectively as a team, we're all wrapped to have two cars after 24 hours come home, 1-2, nose to tail, and have a good ding-dong scrap with about 5 or 10 laps to go. That's what it's all about. Great to see.
So here's the final placings. Peter Brock, Greg Murphy, Jason Bright, Todd Kelly take the win in the Monaro from Pretty, Tander, McConnell and Richards. Then the first of the Porsches, Morris, Fitzgerald, Shearman and Tulin.
Then the first of our B-class competitors, the Bartels, Klaassen, Uwe Eltsen and Jürgen Eltsen entry in 4th outright, a great result. Martin Short, Pierce Lamb and Spurl in 5th in car 900.
Then Tony Quinn, Clark Quick, Marcus Marshall, Grant Denyer, 2nd in class in the Porsche from Floyd, Donaldson, Halliday and Donaldson. The father and son team there, Stokel, Simonson, Yulden and Peter Hackett in the Lamborghini.
They did a great job to bounce back into 8th spot after having tyre problems throughout the weekend. In 9th, the Conduras, Power, Freestone and Wall entry in car 888. And well done to Peter Boyle and Jeff Morgan, Hanson and Bates, taking out D-class in car 71 and finishing in the top 10.
Winners of the Invitational class, Steve Williams, Graham Moore, Terry Bozajak in the Commodore, Russell, Cramp, King and Stuber in the BMW, Parker, Waters, Sala and Gazard further back. 3rd in class D, the Salmon, Boatwright, Caswell, Hastings, Subaru, then Holt, Young, Brock and Monday in the Mitsubishi from Dean, Rubus and Wanless in the Subaru.
Then we go back to Osborne, Roken, Keane and Grotchell. They took out Class E in lucky number 13, a great result. Dean, Pye and Smith finished in 18th spot in car 3.
Then Bruce and Berwick Linton, Jamie Cartwright and Matthew Jackson in the BMW M3R from Chanda, Gillespie and McFarland, McElroy, Douglas, Stillwell and Phil Kirkham.
Over the page, the Metchler, Kovacs, James Brock and Brame entry in 28th spot at DNF. The Tomlinsons, Neil and Edie in 26th spot in car 42.
The Wilson, Conduras, Jenkins, Palmer Ferrari from the David Russell, Warren and Ian Luff, Scotty Lozeman, Holden Commodore. Then Shepherd, Bailey and Doyle in the Honda Integra Type R.
Haston, Woods, Robinson and Hunt in 33rd spot. Montermini, Pater, Engelhorn and Brabham in 34th spot in car 48.
Then the Urash, Wilson, Newton, Erdos, Porsche, Pilkington, Cribben, Hill and Hooker went out in the first 3.5 hours with engine failure in the Nissan. Then Westbrook, Moore and Mitchell also crashing out in the BMW.
It is an unbelievable track and it was a great race for us. We finished first in our class and fourth in the overall, and we are absolutely happy.
As they say, if it works, it works, and we showed that it worked again.
Yeah, well, a lot of people criticised us because they said we were bringing a quarter horse to run in a steeplechase, and we knew the Celica would do the job, and everyone's driven to plan, and it's a great result.
It's a dream come true for me, and Maury's been there before and Buzzo has, but it was a team effort by the drivers, but more importantly, we had a brilliant engineering staff under us, and for them, it's huge.
As the champagne flows at this 24-hour endurance race at Mount Panorama, 31 years after his first Bathurst win, 16 years after his last Bathurst win, Peter Brock finally has the perfect 10.
And Monaro making a 1 and 2 in the toughest race Australia has to offer.
Game over.